On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we're going to talk to you about the new Grail Front event, the Castle of Day and Night, which is like a real event. There's new servants and everything. It's pretty cool. Also, I hope you're ready for those QP fields, everybody, because Yamataikoku is already back. Really snuck that one in behind us.
Speed.
So yes, all that and more, I should say, we will discuss on today's Let's Talk FGO. I am one of your hosts. I am Gunsmith Omega. With me, as always, Gunner Cat. Lucky.
I hope everyone's enjoying Vagrant, or aka the Rice Fields of Plenty. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EA versions of the game, so anyone not want to spoil this should become a general.
Yes, as always, with new JP content, be aware of, discussing things.
Stuff.
Also, to completely silent the conversation, because I only checked back in Patreon chat a second ago. No, I don't actually think it's the battery. Once it actually charges properly, it stays charged for the normal amount. It's just when my battery is low, sometimes it doesn't start charging right away. That's why I think it might be the cable. When it gets going, it's fully juiced. It's just weird.
That's the goop.
Anyway, that's not related to our discussion right now, but may come back later in What's Up. I don't know. So before we continue, though, I would like to remind everybody this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Adam D. Harp, Blacklist OG, Call Me Zed, Carlos Dragon, Fight This Icebird, Jeremy Vasquez, JDV9000, Jeff Fay, John Sandoval, Starlight, Legendary Buff Hunter, Liam Tesser, Regent Raptor, Rags of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Trevor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob, and Varen the Crow. If you like what we do, want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. More about that at a later date, probably.
Probably.
And so, yes, we have a, hail and a hearty episode of our podcast to get you through this week. So, actually, can I see that? Yeah, there was a weird audio spike and cut.
Weird.
I think one of your food wrappers peaked your microphone a little.
Oh, that was probably me stabbing my fucking drink here.
Ah, that would explain it. That plastic on plastic sound is pretty high pitched.
My bad.
It's okay. I mean, like I said, it just peaked and cut off, so it's just kind of funny. I was like, what was that strange sound? It's like perfectly cut screams, but, not a scream. Well, I guess you could call it screaming. Anyway, that's not related right now. So, that means we can move on with regular show business. First, let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mash.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up segment, Wake the Pro Tips.
Pro tips.
I got a simple one this week, but, sometimes we get newer players to the game in here. And so, it might be a good time to remind everybody that when an event has limited CEs, the 3-star event CEs are in the FP gacha. They're in there. You're trying to roll a specific 3-star CE out of the pool of all of them, and 3-star CEs are on the higher end of rarity for FP gacha, but they're there if you've forgotten or didn't know. It's not a thing that I think the community remembers to talk about very much these days. It's kind of one of those, things that are taken for granted. So, if you have FP, it can be helpful for any limited time event to spend some FP to just try and get some CEs and other stuff. Obviously, it's better when there are new bronzes in there, in addition to CEs. And Chad can fact check me on this, I'm sure, but I do not believe that event 3-star servants usually end up in the FP gacha, because even if they're permanent, the gacha is weird, so they're like only available on the new banner for that time period. But obviously, because just for the sake of, spaghetti code, I'm pretty sure they can't put bronzes on, the normal St. Quartz banners. They do end up in the FP gacha when they exist for an event. This will be relevant, obviously, for this rerun, and also early next year. So yeah, there you go. There's your usual remindo. Yes, the patron chat is telling me that I believe I am correct and that 3-star servants do not show up. Again, that probably has to do with, even when they're permanent, they are specifically coded to be in the limited time banner only. They probably could make them show up in the FP banner, but it would be weird. Anyway, no records are evil, really. We wrapped up the Halloween event. I did get all my Liz copies. I did have to actually ask some people which nodes I should be hitting, though, because I was somehow not getting uniformly distributed points in the nodes I was easily clearing.
I believe I did the cottage just constantly.
Yeah, I think the cottage is a good one. I kind of feel like, as some last-minute dissection, I do kind of feel like while that I'm sure saves them space and is more interesting, the fact that you kind of, go to the castle and then get kicked back into the forest and double back means that they, added some second free quests to those areas, and there were times when I'm like, these are all 90 plus nodes. I genuinely can't tell which one is newer. which one of these is supposed to be better as I peer at my phone looking at the drop results, which doesn't actually tell you if the point drops are bigger, unfortunately. That might be a nice feature to say specifically what size of drops you can get. Anyway,
their drop weight.
Yeah. Because obviously, for point drops, not all drops are created equal.
Nay.
So, it would be good to keep track. But that means that we can move on from all that to, did you finish your master missions? Answer, probably. So, master missions this week are very simple. There's 3 separate master missions to defeat 15 each of enemies who have the human, heaven, and earth attribute. I think there are still some, like, wikis and internet sources that refer to this as man, sky, and earth, but those guys. Then you also need to defeat 20 and then 40 enemies who are not servants or certain story bosses, and acquire 3 gems or statues as drops. So basically, if you were playing the previous event and are also playing the new event, you are probably getting all of these out of the way. I think the only one I haven't happened to complete it is, like, the human one, and that's only by, like, I missed 2 guys yet, so I'm sure I'll pick it up while I do normal event farming. Yeah! So yeah, pretty straightforward. Honestly, these master missions kind of feel like they were meant for, like, a gap week with, like, you know, a half AP or something, and it just so happens that because we are going straight from Halloween into the Guda Guda rerun, that it just lines up like that. I'm sure you'll see your more, Guda Guda related ones next week, probably.
Probably.
But that means that at a mere 8-ish minutes, raw mission clock, it's time to move into the Skelegrams, which are particularly spooky this week. Well, maybe not as spooky as the Friday the 13th week. Ooh. Unfortunately, Halloween's on, like, a Tuesday, so you'll have to wait till Tuesday to see what I can spin up with that one. Anyway, technically happening first, JP has launched their new Grail Front, White Castle by Day, Black Castle by Night event, started the 25th, going until the 15th of November. So you've got the usual 3-week block here. And yeah, it is Grail Front time, as they predicted. It is kind of falling through on the time slot usually for Halloween, though we seem to have a handful of vibes from several event series as well. And actually, this Grail Front does appear to have quite a lot of plot. According to the little chart of time gates, it says it goes up to Act 19.
I mean, I think that's good.
Yeah, no, I think that's a positive. Grail Fronts are usually very plot light, but this is a very interesting one to see, and I'm glad for it. I don't know details about, like, what the ratio of the Grail Front battles to, like, story nodes is yet. The fandom wiki is being a little slower than usual in updating, but I'm sure it's very interesting to see. And like I said, the time gates do explicitly say they go up to, you know, Act 19 and Epilogue, so it's a lot. It's a lot of plot. For the better, hopefully. So, there was a stream, kind of a small stream. It was, you know, mostly just, the only guest was Ayaka Kawasumi. There was Nissan there, and, you know, a couple of the marketing boys for some stuff. Seemed pretty straightforward. But everybody got 14 sync quartz for the stream, and also there is the usual thing they're doing for 3-week events now, where basically there's like a... Actually, honestly, structurally it reminds me of how other gacha games kind of do like their monthly passes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally 3 weeks of events, log in for like a shitload of silver apples, and then on the 7th day you get a gold apple instead, so log in during the duration of the event to get a lot of apples. I believe that is, like, total logins, not streak. It's just keep logging in, keep getting apples. Okay, let's see. I'm getting news on the ground. It's like 1 or 2 Grail Front maps a day, and you have to do the Grail Fronts to unlock the free quest nodes, which is serviceable. I appreciate that. Also good to see them getting extra Grail Front nodes out there, you know, letting you know that it's been a while. So, we have, because this is like a full-blooded event here, we have a summon banner. So your summon banner is going to be new limited SSR Archer, Ptolemy the First. The 4-star slot is occupied by Penth, and we have a new permanent 3-star Archer, Sugitani Zenjūbō. Now note that this operates on the way we just discussed about permanent 3 stars. You're not going to be able to get Zenjūbō in the normal, like, story gacha or the FP gacha or anything until this banner ends, but then they will be permanent, so that's new permanent 3 stars.
Nice.
Also, I do at least appreciate that they did throw a 4-star on the raid up as well, who is not an archer. And also the archer that is on this banner is not gold, so hopefully you won't be getting too confused. Also, that said, there is at least one more big servant scene in the CM and the story, and a lot of, well, I'll say the guest later, but considering this is a full 3-week event, we're probably looking at least a banner 2, assuming we can't cram some more in there. And a lot of people are guessing, based on the artist and character design we've seen so far, that the other servant is probably Theseus.
I mean, you look at that MP, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of the stills, but I haven't seen, like, the full video. But, he's got a bull bracer on one side, so, like... And I think it is also Asterios' artist is what really tipped people off.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's some vibes. We'll see if that matches up. I'm sure the story won't play it, too close to the vest for so long. He's already, like, an NPC character you can fight, so... Hopefully we will actually, see some action. Does make me wonder whatever might have happened with, Minotauros, you know? There was all that hubbub during Lost Belt 1 that he had, you know, his story sprite and his battle sprite were, like, mirrored, so it made it look like he was supposed to be playable. But they never went anywhere with that. Funny. You know, sadly, well, not sadly, but funnily enough, Stheno's not on the bonus servant list, but Urale is, so you might see her on a 3-star rate-up and a follow-up banner. You never know. Also, it almost goes without saying, but in case you're keeping track, the new servants are also added to the event bonus list, and they have the biggest bonuses. I believe Zenjūbō has, like, plus 50% damage, and Ptolemy has plus 100% damage. Also, it is actually the P is actually totally silent. I think this is a gag we've done in the ancient times of the show, you know, like when Cleo was new. It is not Ptolemy, it is Ptolemy. You can say Ptolemy as a joke, or Ptolemy as a joke there. See, I said it correctly the right way around. But no, the P is silent if you're curious. And we'll have more on those new servants later, because we're doing some really interesting things here. But also, as mentioned, you know, pretty directly earlier, in NA, we, like, immediately went into Revival Super Ancient Shinsengumi History Guru Guru Yamataikoku 2022 Light, aka the Guru Guru Yamataikoku rerun, starting on the 26th and going until the 8th of November. So, yeah, no, we just fired right back into it after Halloween ended. I think they did an announcement of this, like, a day or two ahead of time. So, yeah, scooch right in. Usual rerun type ads here, so Okita's costume is going to be permanently added, and if you've already unlocked it, if you do the quests again, you will get a rare prism. We have 3 summon banners for this. You've got, you know, your choice of Saito on a side. You can get Himiko and Saito, Okita and Saito, and Hijikata and Saito. It's funny how that works out. Also, there's CEs on there, obviously. And Nobukatsu's back in the FP gacha, so warm up those fingies. If you want to get them servant coins, them extra NP copies, all that fun stuff. Mine's already NP5 from last time, but you know, it's out there. Sorry, I'm doing some event farming right now, and I'm just reminded about how, unfortunately, noodly casters are without damage bonuses.
Spaghetti arms.
Yeah, at least my NP5 Kirky will delete the boss. But the farming part, ooh, it took a while. Anyway, that is basically our, you know, FGO news. I mean, you don't really have to grab as many Katsus as possible. Sorry, somebody's discussing the servant coin strat in there. You should just do that in general. Like, when Grailing becomes involved, you know, you can use any servant coins. I do believe because he is technically limited, Nobukatsu gets very slightly more servant coins than normal, but it's not a lot. In general, you do want to be, you know, roly bonesing up your free servants, your bronzes, to get those coins when we get Grail casting later this year.
So with that, let's switch focus and move on over to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week we'll do one last refresh here. Just get a check. And we have five lovely and sexy submissions that we will get to. We will begin, meow. This first one comes from, recently found out that the name of that one patron is Flightless Icebird and not Flightly Sized Bird.
I do make a habit of saying some of them a little fast, it's true.
But they say, Dear Unit Captain Omega and Shaman Queen Lucky, I am a queen. Yas. One of the great things about Fate is how it inspires people to go check out the lore, media, and history of their favorite servants. What are some of the more overlooked or esoteric works that you would recommend to Fate fans who want to understand the history and mythology behind the series? Honestly, I wouldn't necessarily recommend esoteric works in general. Esoteric is esoteric for a reason.
Yeah, very occasionally FGO will do a deep cut, like Mandricardo, but
yeah.
Usually, arguably, most of those characters are well known. I mean, I'm sure some people will probably be like, oh, hey, what about, you know, this new person, Zenjūbō? While they're not very well historically attested, they do at least have a couple of anecdotes about them, which I'm sure has made them famous in some circles. And given that they are attached to the history and mythology of Oda Nobunaga, I'm sure that comes up a lot because Japan will not leave that guy alone. So yeah, like, arguably the most, like, the esoterica you should be checking out is probably actually, like, Japanese fiction, the kind of stuff that, like, inspired Nasu's style to do Fate. I'm trying to remember, what is the... There's a work that is basically kind of sort of the plot of Shimosa.
Oh, it was like
novel.
Makai,
Is it Makai Tensei?
I think, I don't know if it was Makai. I don't know if it was Makai Tensei, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the exact title, but, like, there's a Japanese novel that is about, you know...
Oh, no, it's Makai Tensho.
Makai Tensho, that's right. Did have the right 10, but the wrong sa. Yeah, like, that's about basically, you know, Japanese sword masters getting revived to cause chaos. The plot is very similar to Shimosa, and obviously I think that's... Nasu has straight up said in interviews that was an inspiration for Fate and the like, so that's the kind of stuff you should keep in mind that's esoteric. In general, if you want to just be better read, just, you know, go to your original sources, or decent summaries thereof. In general, I think Overly Sarcastic Podcast, OSP, does a pretty good job when Red does do, like, folklore or mythology summarized, you know. You can get a pretty decent grasp on your classics. And just in general, a lot of stuff is moderately accessible. Like, I'm pretty sure if you wanted to learn anything about Arthuriana, you could take your pick of, you know, Record of the British Kings or, like, Vulgate or something, if you wanted. And obviously you can, you know, read Lamort to Arthur. That's definitely out there.
Actually, looking at the characters in Makai Tensho, it's like, I'm looking at Fate Samurai Remnant, it's like, man, we got pretty close. Because, like, I want you to listen to this, and everyone playing Samurai Remnant, I just want you to keep this in mind, alright? So, the plot. The tale starts in the Tokugawa Shogunate when Yui Shosetsu meets the old Morisoken, who, in the story, has survived to the Shimabara Rebellion and learned the dark arts of Ninpo in order to get his revenge. Knowing that they both wish for the dethroning of the shogun, Soiken forms an alliance with Shosetsu and reveals the spell devised by him, the Makai Tensho, which can rise dead people as his puppets. They soon gather an undead army of legendary warriors and sorcerers, and among them Amakusa Shiro Togisada, Miyamoto Musashi, and Arake Mataimon, and plans to use their supernatural skills to destroy the Covenant. However, the crown of their army, Yagyu-Jubei Mitsuyoshi, breaks free of their control and becomes determined by his own reasons to stop the rebellion before it starts. Like,
yeah, that is basically like, hey, remember the cast of Shimosa and Samurai Remnant? What if we just that's it right there.
That is just it. Like, and I'm looking at the
and Yagyu-Jubei is referenced multiple times in Shimosa. He's not present.
Yeah, but we got, like I said, let's see here, cause yeah, no, I'm looking at this page, yes, and they directly call out that Thank Grand Order Shimosa was a direct reference to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, oh yeah, like, I'm looking at other, like, characters too, like, Hozuin Ishun was a character in there, you know, our good, Lance Monk boy.
Yep.
Let's see here, Miyamoto Musashi, Yagyu Munamori. Was Yagyu was City Man in Shimosa? I forget.
Yep, he's one of the Swordmasters.
Yeah.
He is a pain in the ass fight.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, like, honestly, I probably should sit down and actually watch this film. It's an old film. It's based off a 1967 historical novel, and I do believe it was made into a movie in the 1980s? Yes. It looks like it has 3 film adaptations, known as Samurai Reincarnation in 1981, Reborn from Hell, Samurai Armageddon, 1996, direct-to-video. So, and then we have Samurai Resurrection 2003. Also got several manga. And apparently Ninja Resurrection is an anime adaptation. Kind of go for it.
Okay. Alright.
They also got stage plays. Neat.
Japan loves their stage play. I'm wondering if Yagyu-Jubei has not shown up, one, because his dad's already in, but also, like, it might be one of those things where he has such famous fictional portrayals, but I'm, like, looking at it, and, like, the Wikipedia article is... The number of fictional appearances is longer than the rest of the article. Like, obviously that has, you know, language bias and stuff, but, like, that means that he's very popular in folklore, and probably is popular because there's a lot less historical documentation to go on. I mean, I think Nasu just probably grew up in grew up in the 80s, I think. That would work with the would work with the timeline, because, like, I think, whatchamacallit, Kara no Kyokai, like, those novels were being, like, written and published in, like, the late 90s. I think he said he had either just finished school or was still in college when that happened. But yeah, no, the titles alone was just like, oh yes, these are schlocky 80s movies of the highest quality.
I'm gonna see if I can track
those
this
are the
down.
kind of things that you should check out.
So, let's move on to the next one. The next one comes from a master negotiator insists release from the clutches of the Lizquisition. That's a great word, Lizquisition.
I mean, there's certainly enough Liz's for that.
They say, hey guys, hope you're doing alright. I've been away from mailbag for a while, so it's good to be back. Well, welcome back. Here's my question for the week. Do you think King Sasan was responsible for slaying failed candidates as well as members who strayed from the path of Hazan? It'd be really interesting if he was the one who slayed False Assassin and Strange Fake. Sending you the good vibes, wah 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 wah, and have fun farming the rice fields.
It is an interesting question. I mean, the way it was presented in like Camelot was more like he's kind of their own, boogeyman to come forth when a member of the Order has done a fuck up. So that might work. I mean, I don't know much about how Strange Fate portrays the backstory. I don't actually know if just because you failed to be appointed Old Man of the Mountain, that's what gets you killed. Fake Assassin's problem is, her going against the will of the Order, because she doesn't have her own Zabania.
Got a Zabania.
Which is arguably funnier given the fact that either Gramps doesn't have his own Zabania, or he's never revealed it to us. Because his Noble Phantasm technique is Azrael, the Evening Bell. So, it's funny. Reminds me of a conversation I saw earlier. I arrived a little too late to participate, but talking about, like, what NASA's working on and stuff, and, like, why there's a drive to do a Tsukihime remake and stuff, and part of it, obviously, I think, is just appreciation for the series, but also, it has been, like, 20 years, and, the continuity has gotten a little snarly, and I do think sometimes it makes sense to, like, take a look back at those older works, and, maybe give them a chance for a rewrite or a review, because we are kind of getting farther away from the idea that Fate and Tsukihime are completely irreconcilable, right? Because FGO has some crossover there, funnily enough. So it's like hitting a point where, like, yeah, I could see where Nasa would after 20 years of other writing, be like, I could go back and I could tighten this up and I could make it make more sense with shit I've written later. I'm always personally a fan of that style of continuity, where authors are willing to take a crack and look at some stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. But I have nothing to add on that, so let's keep moving forward. The next one comes from the Tire King, working a little bit longer than usual, pay for his pre-orders, coming soon. But they say a question. Hey guys, with Halloween soon, I'd like to... Excuse me. With Halloween soon, I'd like to ask, what is your favorite candy/Halloween movies? Also for manga, what relevant anime car, Celtic Guardian, Gandora, would you like to get its own deck? Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way. Wah, 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 wah. And hope you have a great evening.
I mean, it's got to be Celtic Guardian for the memes. Celtic Guardian format. The people who know.
That person is not lucky, by the way.
On the first question, I'm pretty sure we've actually discussed favorite sweets and candies before.
I'm pretty sure we have, but honestly, I can't remember it. Like, for Halloween, I don't really know.
I mean, as the way it works as a kid on Halloween is you take what you get.
It's like in general, I'm usually a fan of Reese's Pieces, Whoppers, like fruit-based, like Starburst Jelly Bean are crack to me.
Yeah. Jelly beans in general are really good. And
I don't know if you get
regular Starbursts, juicy Starbursts, Skittles, especially sour Skittles.
Sour Skittles.
It's a big one for me. And yeah, honestly, I'm a fan of most kinds of chocolate. Like, even though I don't usually like mint flavor, like, if there's mint chocolate, I'll take that. I do dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate. I've never had that, like, ruby chocolate stuff, which is made from, like, a certain way you handle the cacao. It's kind of pinkish in color. But yeah, no. You mix chocolate and peanut butter, that's good. I guess I'm still not a huge fan of most, nuts texture-wise, but, it's not the worst. Like, I'd eat a peanut M&M.
Believe it or not, Lucky actually really likes dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate's good. I feel like it's gotta pair with something though a little, because it is a little more bitter just on its own. But
Like
it's still chocolate, y'all.
Dark chocolate truffles, the best.
It's so nice, yes. Now for Halloween movie films, I am one of those proponents that you can watch Nightmare Before Christmas at either Halloween or Christmas or both. So that's up there. And I'm trying to, this will scratch some itches, though it's been a little while since I've seen it. But big fan of the Disney Channel original Halloween Town movies.
I was about to say Halloween Town, son of a bitch.
Yes, very classy. Sound off in the comments if y'all remember Halloween Town. I think all of the ones they made are on Disney Plus right now. Actually, funnily enough, I'm trying to think what other. Go ahead.
Go Omega.
Okay. I was gonna say I appreciate a lot of the classic, speaking of hokey 80s movies, a lot of the classic slasher films, but I don't usually go out of my way to sit down and watch them on a Hallows Eve,
Like, I have to confess, I'm kind of the same way. I won't. I'm not much of watching a scary movie, but if it's October and fucking Hocus Pocus comes on, I'm gonna sit down.
Another classic, Hocus Pocus, great film. Yeah, I'm much more one of those, spooky vibes people. You'll catch me, with a jack-o'-lantern. Hold on.
Oh,
my local Ethernet routing device has fallen down.
Oh no.
Not sure what prompted it to do that, but given that I have not been yeeted out of the Discord call, nothing important has become unplugged. But weird, haunted, fucking ghosts. Am I right? But yeah, no. I definitely feel obviously, most people, when I was a kid, I was, actually frightened of scary movies.
Oh, I definitely was.
But, nowadays, a lot of them are just kind of, yeah, whatever. I feel like a lot of films try to go for, the usual cheap jump scares or, lots of gory horror. The films that freaked me out in my, teenage to young adult years was shit the first couple, Paranormal Activities, with, just the fucking, home camcorder type footage.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty freaky. Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, yes. Any Scooby-Doo film. Zombie Island, it's terror time again. You know what's up, Chad. But that kind of goes back to my point. I never went out of my way to watch scary movies. I appreciate the kind of pop culture iconicness of Friday the 13th and actual literal Halloween the movie, shit like that. But that was never my jam. So I mostly go for vibe type movies. Hocus Pocus, good vibes. Halloween Town, spookum vibes. Put Nightmare Before Christmas in that zone as well. Scooby-Doo. Half the time in Scooby-Doo, the monsters ain't even real. I feel like I have to qualify with half at this point, though. We've done the "Oops, the monsters are real" plot several times. Hell, even the first live action Scooby-Doo is when you understand it being a parody of the series, it's still pretty funny.
Coolville sucks.
I didn't say that.
That was the moment I knew I shouldn't take the fucking movie seriously.
Yeah, no. The movie's taking the piss, and that's okay. Because if you think, there's a reason why we get memes well, I'm sure glad that we're out here and he's in there, and that we're in here and he's out there and he's the sheriff. That was a Scooby-Doo mystery about a fucking caveman frozen in a literal rectangular block of ice. That was a guy in a costume, BT dubs. I don't remember if the caveman part was even real. And if it was real, apparently whoever the bad guy was created a caveman costume that was so realistic people couldn't tell the difference.
A lot of these villains really need to just become, Hollywood makeup artists.
Yeah, no, they'd fucking listen. That's the Scooby-Doo reimagining I need, where instead of them solving crimes, the gang are just tracking. They're just road tripping across the country, tracking down people for their cosplay commissions.
That's pretty meta. But I think that's enough on that. So let's keep moving.
Let us know your favorite Halloween time movies in the comments below. There you go. There's our audience engagement.
Yay. So, next one coming up. This one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado. They say, Dear Lucky Omega, in your opinion, who is the best welfare servant we have received so far? Sending good vibes and wishing you well. Keep up the great work. P.S. for Lucky, on a scale of 1 to Jack, how, daughter is new Snow White, Nuda, and Nikki. I have already adopted her. Head pats will commence. Ugh. For those of you not in the know, just last night, the Nikkei did their 1-year anniversary stream for both JP and EN versions, and had a host of new announcements and whatnot. One, everyone was already pretty sure of SSR Red Hood, a unit long in people's wish list, but the semi surprise that came with it. I say semi-surprise because someone accidentally released a image earlier with her design on earlier. But one of the Pilgrim units, one very, very hungry, very stoic character named Snow White, is getting a small version of herself. And people are just all like, this is my new child.
Small
Lucky,
White.
yes. And Lucky is definitely in that camp as well. Nikkei has been very popular in the past 24 hours, with trending with several on Twitter and in several areas.
Yeah, I believe they had a live stream last night. Was that first anniversary?
Yep.
Okay.
Like I said, it did pretty good numbers. Even though I don't know actually how many people were watching in the U.S., but even though it was I believe it started at 3:30 in the morning, that the English stream did get 70K live viewers. The JP one had 45K. That's pretty good numbers in my opinion.
Yep, seems pretty solid.
But I don't have anything more to say about that. So, on to your actual question. Best welfare servant. Oh, geez. I don't know. On a regular, I have to say, on the ones that I probably actually, use in, actual content, not just for, brain dead farming, it probably is gonna have to be, Shiki, Assassin Shiki, or Rider Kentoki.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm trying to rack my brain, and I definitely would think that, Shiki, Rider Kentoki, or Chloe would be high on that list because they are just, the preeminent, spammable, boss killers in their slots. Very useful back in the day to just beat up guys. I think there's something to be said for, BB and the Mecha Ellies as being welfares in rare classes. But that's not always a guarantee, because unfortunately, Mysterious Idol X, she's very cute, but I don't see a lot of people, using her now that her event is over.
Well, that's also the thing about the rare class ones is while they do fit a very specific niche, once you are outside their niche, they're just kind of, well then, they exist.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
If I had to think of, units I actually, get into a lot, I think probably, for AoE farming, Kichihogan and Gray seem very popular, and I've used both of them a lot because AoE assassins. But, yeah.
Yeah, I probably would say Roma's after that, but that's because I use a lot of arts. But sometimes, Roma isn't quite punchy enough, unfortunately.
I'm definitely going to want to see how Renmaru X handles having a welfare Avenger, who is technically arts-focused. So that'll be interesting to see, but they're not out yet, so. Similarly, I suspect, like I said, that for the same reasons, future 9-2 Dragon Eliza will also probably get some use because she's, the welfare pretender slot. Also, very funny, by the way, that Liz gets to be 2 of those. Technically 3, but chat, there's no mechanical difference between the Mecha Alias.
You can field them both.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
It's good. Oh no, Rider, the new Cinderella is a great, single target Rider unit. I don't know if she necessarily replaces Kentoki, but she has a different focus. I also think it's funny that having used her a lot for the event, every one of her skills has a demerit, but it doesn't really seem to slow her kit down that much.
Also, is it just me, or do we have a welfare single-tire rider of every color now?
Probably. We're almost at 400 servants, so, most of your big niches are covered. Let's see, so, yeah, Kentoki was quick. Scrolling down. Ellie is Buster. Yeah, we don't actually have a single target arts rider welfare, do we?
Yeah, I do Roma.
Is he single target?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought he was AoE for some reason.
I think Lancer is AoE.
Then yeah, we do have one of everything, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, Ishtar is also definitely AoE.
Yeah, Ishtar's AoE. We have a lot of welfare riders, Jesus.
A decent amount. We've got, like I said, one for every color in the single target. I don't think we've actually wrapped around to one of every kind of AoE.
No.
The primary thing is, obviously, I think there should be a welfare in all our weird extra classes, which we're mostly caught up on.
Welfare beast, let's go!
Hey, it could work. And there are some poor classes that have been, left out in the lurch for a while. Like, let's see. Satanta is a welfare saber, but when was the last saber before him? Was it Karna? Yeah, so that's like... Is that a full 2-year gap? I think it is, yeah. No, that's a long stretch there. Much shorter the other way around, because there was Saber Hokusai and then Santa Karna later. What is Satanta? Is he...
Oh wait, that's right. We have a saber rider. So we have a Buster AOE rider. Just need an arts AOE rider. Then we have it all.
Yeah. Now you might see him sometime. Also, very very interesting that it's funny. I talked about the big gap with Santa Karna into Satanta. Satanta is also single target quick. So weird. Unless I'm grossly misremembering Karna, and somehow he is. No, his NP is indeed quick. I was like, it's gotta be quick, right? I know he also has Buster skills, but I'm pretty sure his NP card was green. Was Hogan the last assassin? Welfare? That might be correct. Nope. Valkyries. Summer Valkyries. They're all assassins. You may have forgotten them because there's 3 of them, and it's very confusing. But no, they are assassino.
Assassino.
They are AoE arts assassins, which is a good mix-up.
Yeah,
a lot of people,
again.
I think, probably forget about Taisui Xingshun as well. He's another alter ego. Yeah, I can see you forgetting there. It's very strange, okay, chat? We're going to talk about some archers who maybe are not normal for archers later. And I think that goes the other way. Sometimes there are characters that you think would be archers, but are not. Assassin is weird like that sometimes. I would like everyone to remember that Sasaki Kojiro and Izo are both assassins.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that they very prominently use swords. But yeah, we have not had a Berserker welfare in a while. It has been since Summer Jolter. On the one hand, she's a pretty good unit as well, but also I assume that after, our other big one is Cha-Cha, you've got a single target and an AoE. It's like, well, them's a Berserker, so I don't know if we really need to flex that one any. I'm glad to see, though, that it does kind of seem like from our conversation that we and people agree that, it's not necessarily that newer welfares are automatically better than older welfares. We're out here going to bat for, Rider Kentoki and Assassin Shiki.
Mm-hmm.
Still excellent units. Assassin Shiki so excellent, they have continued to buff her and have brought her back in the Evocation Festival. They know what's up. Stretch my hands there. I was expecting maybe a knuckle crack, but no.
So, let's move it on to our last one. Coming from Agent 418, who says, "Hello, Lucky and Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all. Same to you, my dude. Same to you. And thank you, as always." But that is that. That is all the mailbag. There's all there is. There is no more.
Maybe as the new event percolates, we might get some more later. Alright. Well, that means it's time for free talk and other subjects, but let's take a quick intermission. We have been recording for about 50 minutes. Okay, we're back into it. It means it's time for free talk.
Free talk!
Is, mostly going to be servant deets and then into the what's up whatever, because I don't think we really have distinct thoughts on the rerun at this moment.
No, not really.
It was kind of interesting to see them do the old, the TV intro for this and see the blue bars, but yeah. it's rerunning. Alright, well, let's talk about new servants. Let's do the new servant shimmy, as I said in my notes. Funnily enough, we are going to talk about 2 archers for this. So, let's jam some history. We've got Ptolemy 1 Soter. That means savior. And as a servant, lore-wise, he's pretty unique in that basically his young and old forms are equally prime. Fate likes to have this discussion about how in an ideal universe, heroic spirits should be summoned in their prime. There are obviously a few, oddities and variations of this. There are servants who can technically appear in multiple forms. But Ptolemy's oops all one Saint Graph because both of his, time periods are very famous.
Yeah.
He was one of, Alexander's closest generals. He wrote an account of Alexander's campaigns that we have access to, I believe, or at least some fragments of.
Fragments of.
Yeah, and
not perfect.
I mean, he was writing on the go, so I can imagine that being a little hard to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was one of Alexander's 7 bodyguards, so very close. He went through all of the the rivalry and breakup of everybody. Ended up taking hold of Egypt. But the funny part is that, he died in, like, his 80s. And
no, he had a long life.
yeah, he managed to come out of the fragmentation of Alexander's empire fairly all right. Not perfectly all right. I was looking up some of his history earlier, and I did not realize this poor guy was, like, he like was married and had several sets of children, like 3 or 4 times. A lot of it which was due to political conflict. Like, he had a mistress and had several children with her, but then got into a political marriage to a Persian woman, and then also, like, married the daughter of, like, the region of Macedonia.
There was a lot of political movement in his life.
One of his daughters actually married Alexander V, who was one of the, his relations, trying to solidify the throne. But eventually, fully, solidified as the first pharaoh of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Ah, yes, we have the full eyewitness accounts are lost. Sag. Oh, also, fun fact, I just saw this. There's a great quote about the mathematician Euclid, who is also a servant. Ptolemy was Euclid's sponsor.
Yes.
And he said that Euclid's work Elements was too difficult to study.
Yes.
Keep in mind, this is Ptolemy I Soter, brilliant commander, personal friend of Alexander the Great, who was a giant nerd,
He was more of a history nerd, though.
Yes.
That was the thing.
But he found the book hard to study and said that there's an easy way to master it. And according to historians, Euclid famously quipped to him, "Sire, there is no royal road to geometry." And I'm like,
you can never escape math.
Big mood. But yeah, so the 2 forms you see of him are, him as the young general bodyguard to Alexander, and then the other as the wise king, the pharaoh. So, stat-wise, for archers, he's kind of on the higher end of attack and somewhere in the middle of HP. He's got a quick arts, buster deck. He's got average hit counts and kind of low NP gain. It's 0.4. I think it's 0.44 specifically. So, little low for having 3s and everything, but he's got some stuff to make up for it. And specifically, he's got a weird NP thing, so we're going to talk about his skills first. Spoiler, hey, remember how we keep talking about how Melusine can't switch back? They've done it, chat. We have the technology. Anyway, his first skill is a unique charisma, so it gives everybody the 10 to 20% attack up for 3 turns. It gives the whole team 500 to 1k HP recovery per turn, and gives just himself, not quite Himiko levels, 3 turns of 5 to 15 stars per turn. So, star gen, team healing, team attack. Very solid. Second skill is a team-wide 10 to 20% arts and buster up for 3 turns. So again, a little bit of the multicolor stuff. Also gives your team 10 to 20% crit resistance for 3 turns. Obviously, critical resistance has been around for a while, but it's always fun to see them, coming up with ways to tuck this in. It also is a 30 to 50% battery on himself, so this may be why his NP gain is lower. He can do some juicing. And then, obviously, we get to his final skill, which is basically kind of like how Melusine's final skill works, but he can switch back. So, if he's on his stage 1 or 2, it switches him to his 3rd ascension, which is Old Man. Old Man is higher in the ascension tiers. It gives him a further 20 to 30% battery and a 20 to 30% NP damage up for 3 turns. But if he is in his 3rd stage, if he is in Old Man mode, it will switch him young again and gives him 20 to 30% NP gain, not battery, but NP gain up, 30 to 50% crit damage, and also a big star absorption up for 3 turns, and an immediate infusion of 10 to 20 stars. So, it's a battery when you switch up to 3rd ascension. When you switch back down, it's a crit bomb. Very fun. So what are his 2 NPs, then, you may be asking? Well, in stage 1 to 2, he has a single target buster, which gives him the ignore defense buff for 1 turn, and reduces the targeted enemy's defense by 20% for 3 turns. In his 3rd stage, he has an AoE Arts NP, which gives sure hit for 1 turn first on self, and reduces the defense of all enemies hit by 20% for 3 turns. Both have basically the exact same overcharge ability. They increase NP damage first based on overcharge, starting at 20% for 1 turn. So, pretty normal stuff there, but very fun to see that kind of back and forth.
Actually, Meg, I have a question. Does that defense down proc before or after damage?
I believe it is after. I will double check.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the usual static debuffing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's activates first, ignore defense, or the sure hit if it's the AoE version. Deals damage to one enemy, then reduces their defense by 20% for 3 turns. So, again, this is probably why they made his default NP gain a little low and gave him like a total of 80% battery if you want on his AoE version only. There's probably some looping shit you can do. Definitely like, I would say there's probably some crazy reloading stuff you can do with Koyan strats, because I should mention, his third skill has a 5-turn cooldown either way. So if you max it out without any like skill reduction buffs, he can switch back between single target and AoE every 5 turns. You start throwing buffs in there. That means you could, hypothetically, if you could get the charge up, which Koyan will do, obviously, you could, fire your AoE, immediately switch to single target for, a boss or something, or back, and vice versa. So there's a lot of crazy strategies you can do if you have the right servant setup. I can imagine them trying to keep this a little more managing. Passes are pretty normal. He has magic resistance B, he has independent action A, and also has a territory creation A+, so his arts cards are 11% better, and has a unique passive. I believe the translation is something like Saint Graph Data Preservation. He just has a permanent 20% buff removal resistance all the time. And yes, I believe the reason for that, and kind of the reason why he can switch, is also because his Noble Phantasm is the Library of Alexandria, so he is...
Yeah, he founded that, by the way.
Library. Yeah. Basically, his Old Man King NP is the library. His young man is the lighthouse, Pharos at Alexandria. This also, I presume, is why he is an archer, because he technically has a death ray. They go out to say that visually it is very similar to Archimedes NP. Yes, Archimedes is name dropped by name. No, they will still not give us him. But we're hoping.
Gives me hope.
We can wait and hope. They mentioned him again. But yeah, I presume that is why he is an archer, because otherwise his kit should definitely probably be more in either the, his initial story sprites have him with spear and shield, so probably, Lancer, and, as a king like that, I could see easily, like, ruler, caster, etc. So yeah, he is a limited 5-star archer, so he has a lot of competition. But the fact that he does have, this explained intrinsic flexibility of NP, he is either single target buster, which is very good if you want to just clean somebody's clock, or he's AoE arts, which of course means there's all kinds of farming you can do. There's a lot to be said there, I think. So, very fun unit, got a lot of merit. And like I said, that once you've got that third skill fully leveled, it is a 5-turn cooldown, which is pretty good. And I think solves the problem that keeps, like, Melusine is obviously a very great unit. Her single target version of her NP is designed to be fired over and over again. She's very good at that. And then just the fact that you can do a piercing NP and for free and just be like, now I'm AoE, fuck you. That's good, but like the one drawback is once you go AoE, you cannot switch back. Ptolemy does not have that problem. You're ready to rock. And he starts single target too, so like you actually have some merits to use one or the other Ascensions to start and switch. Very fun time. Also, in general, he's a really cool guy. He's a pharaoh and a Greek general.
I love his Final Ascension art. I'm just like, look at this happy grandpa.
Yeah. And like we said, he got to live to be a happy old man, He eventually appointed, Ptolemy II his co-ruler, and like we said, died in his 80s. By all accounts, as, pharaoh, as, new king of Egypt, he was considered a fair ruler who was focused on, the classical idea of liberalism, very positive to his, former soldier comrades, and a big guy on science. Yeah. Built that big old library. So yeah, no, like, it's kind of fun to see. Also, it is funny to see because, technically his young form was visible in the, anniversary CM. He is the silver-haired one, as you can see from his, lower Ascension art. So he is the Emiya-looking motherfucker with a spear. Fun times. And I will be very interested, as, Lucky mentioned off mic earlier, to see what, his dialogue lines are for other people and what other people think of him,
I'm a bit excited.
Yeah, there's going to be some very fun stuff there. And now let us talk about our other unit. We've got a new permanent 3-star archer. It is Sugitani Zenjūbō, long U, long O. So this is I mentioned this earlier, kind of another like slightly vague historical character. I had to go like several lines down the Google before a version that wasn't their entry on Grand Order Wiki, their entry on the Type Moon Wiki, and Reddit threads discussing them in relation to FGO before I found anything. So mostly we have this person's name recorded as a gunsmith, I believe in the area of Sugitani, And there are some legends and folklore that they worked with at least the sources I said were the Koga clan. So working with ninjutsu, and they were charged with attempting to assassinate Oda Nobunaga. Obviously, this did not work. Also, I'm going to say, I'm not going to step into any landmines here. I'm going to use they to refer to this person because despite the very visible outline of bosoms in the Final Ascension art, Zenjūbō's gender is listed as unknown, and they have 4 hidden profiles. I think they're 3 and 4 are hidden behind story event clearage in this, and also their Bond 5 is hidden behind 6.5 Trom clearance. So I don't know what's going on there, but clearly some extra bits are going on here. So yes, they have Blackbeard's feminine looking trait at least. So we can. They're feminine enough for Blackbeard, but yeah, like I said, this is a servant with unknown markers. So I'm gonna say they them for now until I get more clear information.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying that. Yeah, no, that's great. Is Blackbeard good with it? Fuck yeah, let's roll. We ball.
Yeah, I mean that's how Gentlemanly Love works. It's feminine looking servants and also Canis, because Canis gets their own trait. But yeah, I'm in my full-blown assume nothing stage. There is a great fatening going on here. So anyway, they are also quick arts buster, decent attack and HP for class and slot. Not quite the best, not quite the worst in either. So pretty decent. All right. They have the average hit counts again. Mostly 3s, and I think their busters are 4 hits. But unlike Ptolemy, have above average NP gain, 0.66. No, it's their quick card that's 4. They have a 4-hit quick card, and then 3s on their busters and arts. 5-hit extra, obviously. It's much more, if I don't mention how many hits their extra attack has, assume it's 5. That's, everybody is 5. If it was, different, I would, do something else. Well, that probably means that, that's gonna be the Timecodes note for this week, Robyn. Lives their life by the Blackbeard scale.
Good enough Blackbeard, good enough for me.
But yeah, so, like I said, average hit counts, good NP gain. So, their NP is very weird. They have a lot of RNG built into it.
Oh no.
So, they have a 4-hit, single target, buster NP. Which has, now follow me on this chat, 85% chance to give them sure hit for 1 turn, activates first. 2 separate stacks of a 55% chance to give them NP damage by 20% first.
Oh.
Their overcharge effect is 70% chance to increase arts and buster performance for 1 turn first. Usual 20% to 40% scaling. And then, after the NP fires, dealing damage to 1 enemy, has a 500% chance to remove all stacks of buff success up. So, you guys may be picking up what they're putting down here. So, there's a very exact math involved in this. I'll explain when I talk about their 3rd skill. But, in general, you are very obviously supposed to stick this servant with buff success up. How much buff success up you need depends on what you want to go for, but you only need 15% to get them to proc sure hit every time. And then you're looking at chances to get as much as 40% NP damage up. And also, if you've got the overcharge, which again, this is going to be a permanent 3-star, not too hard to get NP5, you're looking at a maximum of 40% arts and buster up for a turn. So there's some potential here, but you're going to have to work for it. And that's not going to be obvious right away until I get into the deeper skills. Because their first skill, very normal. You get a 20 to 30% buster up on self for 3 turns, and also a 30 to 50% crit damage up on buster for those 3 turns as well. Buster crits. Second skill is a disengage variant. It is literally called disengage reloading. It does do the removes all debuffs on self, and gives them a regeneration, a timed buff for 5 turns. The timed buff gives you 1 time 5 turns critical damage up for 5 turns. This is 30% to 50%. I do believe this stacks, so long as you don't crit, that 1 time will proc a very spicy crit. But, like I said, it's 1 time 5 turns. It gives them at the end of the turn every 5 turns. Also gives you a stars per turn buff for 5 to 10 stars per turn for 3 turns. So, debuff cleanse, chance to dramatically improve critical chance for 1 single crit, get stars. So you can crit. And the final skill is the fun one. So first of all, this is a full-blown 3 hits, 3 turns evade. So you get your full mileage out of that evade. Also increases star absorption on buster cards for 3 turns, and grants self another regeneration buff for 3 turns. So at the end of your turn for 3 turns, you will get a buff success rate by 15% for 5 turns. Every turn for 3 turns. So basically what Zenjūbō wants to do is slowly build that buff success up. And again, the math is pretty simple. If you allow it to proc for 1 turn, you will always get the evade off. If you allow it to proc for 2 turns, you will always get the arts and buster up. If you can actually wait all 3 turns of your buff success up, then you will proc both NP damage ups, because they are 55%, which means they go to, if you add 45%, they go to 100. And then you lose all your buff success stacks. So, it's a definitely interesting strategy here, and obviously, you can modify this with units like, I believe Oz does group-wide buff success up by like 20%. I know Prince of Landling does like a 20% team-wide buff success up. There's a few other units. So, you don't necessarily have to wait literally all 3 turns for Zenjūbō's own mechanics to do this, but it helps. And yes, no, their passives are just a basic magic resistance D and independent action EX. So, those crits, they're gonna hurt. Like, you've got a very specific 50% extra crit damage on Buster crits. You have a star weight on Buster. You've got some spicy turns here. So, I think that Zenjūbō is an oddity, but since they have a single target NP, I don't think they're going to be an unpopular budget boss killer. This is a single target archer who is relatively easy to, NP5. Like I said, they're going to be a permanent 3-star. And, that NP is going to slap. Like, if you can find a way to put them on the board and have them start proccing their buff success up, right? While you do, like, normal ad waves or something. By the time you get to the 3rd wave of the boss, you're going to have a pretty spicy shot. That's going to get, like I said, 40% NP damage up, somewhere between 20 to 40% buster up, and you've got follow-up, because all those buffs are for 1 turn, so you get the sure hit and stuff. It's spicy. But then you have to reset, which you will be waiting a while, because their 2nd and 3rd skills do have a 6-turn cooldown max, because, keep in mind, it is a really good hard defense. It's a 3-3 evade. So you're going to get a powerful hit with some decent buster crit follow-up. And honestly, I think with the debuff cleanse and the evade, pretty good longevity. So yeah, we have a unit that people are probably going to try and work into, solo comps and budget comps now. Like, we may be looking at the Archer version of Ku here. Not quite the same because there's no self-heal and guts, but, good evades.
It's not a cockroach.
Yeah. Zenjūbō is good at avoiding harm with, a debuff cleanse and a 3-3 evade, but in terms of pure solos, 3-3 evade is a 1-turn of evade, so... definitely, though, got some potential for some funny challenge runs, and if you are not a mad lad, if you put them in an actual team comp, you are going to get some spice out of this. I mean, hell, after all, once again, we talk about reloading with Koyan, right? You can do some significant skill reductions on that evade and stuff, and that regen stacking. If you go with the Atlas MC code, I think you can get that 6-turn cooldown to nothing, basically, because I think it's 2 every time, right? Or even if it's 1, that's a 5-turn reduction, so you only wait 1 turn before it comes back. So, like, there's some pretty fun stacking there. So, yeah, should be a fun unit. Very interested to see, like, what our, more, like I said, more secretive plot stuff going on is. But, yeah, there's a lot of interesting back and forth there. And also, always fun to see, characters with, they flex the Archer definition to get us some shooties. Mm-hmm. They've got their normal arquebus, and then, I've got the joke I'm going to make about Sniper Waifu. Their 3rd Ascension rifle is very much, very similar to what ended up with Old Man William Tao, who is another, really good single-target free archer. Tacticooled Zenjūbō up a little, got, like, modern camo wrappings on the, and stock on the rifle. Got a telescopic sight on there.
Honestly, as a gunsmith, I imagine that would be the modern knowledge. Time for a more modern gun.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's a fun one. And while obviously I'm pretty sure personally I'm going to be rolling on this banner for Ptolemy. Also, these CEs are fucking sick. Chef's kiss. But like, it's always good when we get more permanents. I wouldn't mind some more permanent bronzes, but there have been big gaps in silvers as well sometimes, and this looks like a fun one. And again, it's going to be funny to get into those dialogues. They're not translated or listed yet, but I already see they've got one if you've got a Nobu. Any Nobu will do. Ooh, and interesting. We've got dialogue for Kiara and for Emiya Alter.
Oh, interesting.
Also, we've got dialogue for regular Lancelot and for Billy the Kid and either Anne and Bonnie, which I can only assume are about guns.
Yeah.
We've also got one for our relatively new servant, our spidery friend, Kashin Koji, as well. I wonder if that's a contemporary thing. But yeah, no. So there's going to be some fun dialogue later, I'm sure. Look forward to those translations.
I am.
But yeah, that's our new servant bits. So that's basically our FGO segment of the show. Only been going for about an hour 15, but light mailbag, and we've talked about as much about the new news as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And that said, look forward to probably next week. Like I said, most people are pretty sure we're looking for a part 2 banner here.
Seems like it.
So yeah, we'll have to see how that one shakes out.
I'm pretty sure some people would riot if that person didn't get a banner.
I mean, not that FGO has not been great about, or has been, how should I phrase this? FGO hasn't been not great about sometimes giving us NPCs who are, like, fully kitted out. I literally mentioned the Minotauros thing earlier, where, like, it seems like they gave him all the assets he could be playable, and he just hasn't become playable, Not that I necessarily am going to bat for, like a higher rarity Asterios as Minotauros, but I'm just saying, it looked like they were setting it up. But we've got a 3-week event. We have a banner servant already. We've got a new person who looks completely playable. Yeah, dog, that looks like a second banner to me, Sometimes we add 2 and 2 and accidentally make 5, but I think this is a 4 situation. So I can scroll down and see what dialogues we've got for Ptolemy as well. Looks like we've got separate dialogues for Little Alexander and Iskander. Also Hephaestion, something for Almeloy, and for Renes, Gray. And Cleopatra and Darius as well. That's good.
Darius, really?
Yeah, Darius the Third.
Well, I guess that's true.
It's it's funny because it seems like it's the Iskander crew you would expect, Cleopatra obviously, but also like the Case Files crew gets some sideline in there. That's cute. I appreciate this.
Did it Waver see Ptolemy?
Yes. I mean, he's seen the Ionoi, so he would have seen the whole squad.
Yeah. So that might be...
His dialogue about Reina Sima Yi just seems to be like, tactician, weird, I feel like I know you from someplace, it seems. But yeah. And
it might be more on the tactician side rather than the on the character side.
And as somebody set up, we have seen like something vaguely resembling Ptolemy's character design since Fate Zero and the Ionoi, so like it's good to get him in. We still got a few old servants to get in there. I know a lot of people are still banging the drum for, like, Perseus, who has been data mined with 2 versions for, like, forever. God knows when we will ever see that guy. I feel a little bad for Perseus. He's generally, like, one of the few Greek heroes who is a relatively alright guy, and, funnily enough, Medusa got a 5-star special version before he even showed up at all.
Yeah, if I actually remember correctly, isn't Theseus kind of a dick?
Yes, Theseus is, kind of a dickhead.
Okay.
Like, definitely probably look for more of the Jason school of thought here. Like,
oof.
He, at some point, ditched Ariadne after unraveling her entire kingdom so she could end up rescued by Dionysus. So, it worked out for her, but, yeah, he's kind of a normal Greek hero, so he's a little bit of a tool.
Oof.
Yes, he was briefly put in the underworld for a thing because there were some other shenanigans. Yeah, his cousin... So basically, this is a legend that's been relayed a couple times by OSP, but you should check it out. But basically, Theseus and his cousin were like, you know what we need? Some brides. What are we going to do? And Theseus is like, I could get this Helen. She seems like she's going to be a great deal. She's still a kid, but, it'll work out. And then his cousin is like, nah, fam, you know what I need to do? I've got a better daughter of Zeus in mind. I'm going to go get Persephone. And it's like, she's married to Hades, right? Nah. In this myth, by the way, they go down to the underworld and sit at Hades' table and get trapped by stone snakes to the chairs.
Oh, that's right. They're the two that got trapped to their chair. That's right.
Yes. When Hercules is
wasn't his cousin Orpheus then?
No, his cousin is a different guy. Orpheus just walks down. I think Orpheus sees them still stuck there at some point.
Oh, that's what it was, because I do remember Orpheus is related to the legend.
Herc goes down there to do some business in the underworld and bust Theseus out, because I think they're distantly related as well. But, like, he manages to pull Theseus free. When he goes to get Theseus' cousin, he hears a rumbling underworld voice that says, leave him. And Herc is like, well, sucks to be you, bye. Maybe you shouldn't have tried to fucking steal Hades' wife, bye. Later. And obviously Theseus is related to the famous thought problem, the ship of Theseus.
Yep.
You know, if you replace every plank in Theseus' ship, at what point does it stop being Theseus' ship?
I mean, as long as Theseus is still right. Also, by the way, luckiest person in it, as long as the person named Theseus is riding that ship, it's still the same ship.
Yeah. No. We'll see. I bet they could tuck that in as like a skill or an oddball NP, but we'll see how it's handled. But yeah, no, it is. I think it will be kind of funny to see, like, technically both sides of one of the famous Greek monster myths, where we have both Asterios, who we generally think of as a sweet bean.
He is our precious fluffy boy.
Even though, you know, he probably ate some people, just FYI.
Listen. Doesn't he have innocent monster?
No, he has natural demon. He was unfortunately born a monster.
Yes, that's what it was. It's the opposite.
It's the opposite way. He was born a monster, not by choice.
Yes.
So, like, that's where I think he gets away with being a sweet boy. But, you know, also, I don't know if he had anything else to eat in his fucking labyrinth, unfortunately. But, you know, arguably Theseus was probably doing, I think it was actually specifically Athens a favor by, like, making it so they had to stop sending their children to get eaten by a horrible Minotaur monster. But he's not a great guy either. He does some dumbass shit. He's from Athens, what do you expect?
This is why you don't fuck over gods in various sense of the words, or people who know magic.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, at least I think we can it's not great, but we can understand that, like, Jason probably didn't want to get his specific situation where he got, you know, bailed out by Aphrodite charming Medea, but he takes free wins. He's got a quest he's under.
Honestly, that's the thing. Once, you know, gods get involved in your prophecy, your life ain't your own anymore. They're gonna do whatever it takes, whether you like it or not.
He tried to, like, assuage some things, but like all relationships, his fumble was failing to communicate clearly.
Also blame Hera for this too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hera
did kind of, you know, promise him to go back to being rightful king of his land. Which is another thing, like, again, obviously, like, Jason was denied his birthright, right? Because his father was, you know, killed by an evil uncle, and he was exiled at birth and stuff, right? But he didn't know any of that shit. Like, Hera got him involved because she was like, hey, yo, kid, spoilers, you're the rightful king. Your uncle sucks.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, she was just disguised herself as an old woman, like, and Jason just helped her at one point. He was like, yo, dog. Yeah,
I believe the way that works is, his uncle is just holding and I don't remember what city-state it was, I'm sorry, because there's a lot of them, but his uncle is holding, like, a contest or a festival or something, and Jason is like, well, gonna leave my farmland to go into town and see what's up, and there's a little old lady sitting by the river who's like, oh yes, young man, could you help me cross? And Jason is just like, yeah, sure, I don't got anything better to do, and then he puts the old lady on his back and takes her across the river, and then the old lady's like, yo, dog, I'm Hera, thanks for that. You're gonna be king. And Jason was like, what? Shit, I'm the rightful king? Damn. And
honestly,
then his uncle was like, you may be the rightful king, but maybe you're not kingly enough. Give me this golden fleece.
Also, it's also hilarious because there's also prophecy involved, because I looked this up recently. I don't remember why. Yeah. But apparently in doing so, Jason lost one of his fucking sandals, and one of the king's seers were like, beware the man with one shoe.
Yeah, and he lost his sand. He just lost his fucking flip-flop in the river.
And it's just like, oh my god.
And that's how the uncle knew to be watching out. I mean, I think Jason is a paranoid guy is the thing, but he's not humble. But that is the point, because, like, I don't think Jason has necessarily to be humble. He is the captain of the Argonauts, right? Like, he did a big old hero's quest. It makes sense for him to be a little puffed up, but also something to be like, oh shit, man, I'm over my head. Fuck, dude, I never asked for this. I just lost my fucking sandal. I mean, he does do some stuff. Fate does downplay a few of his things, but Jason is normal Greek hero strong. You know, he, like, wrestled some bulls and fought some guys, but he's, even in the Argonautica, always kind of been in over his head.
Well, also, fucking, the Argonautica is the fucking, you know, fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe of fucking heroes.
Yeah, it's true. Like, as much as Fate does kind of trying to, like, straightforward, like, ify him, because... And I think it makes sense because Jason doesn't really have any of the qualities that would make him, like, a super high-quality servant. Like, his noble phantasms would be pretty normal. Like, I think his sword might be a little famous. Obviously, his sandal has some myths, but mostly it's his boat, right?
Yeah, no, Medea did a lot of magic on him for shit and did a lot of background work for him. You guys don't understand.
But
anytime after getting that, anytime they would have a problem, Medea would literally just magic up something or go poison somebody
or kill some people. This is why when I did our Fate Homebrew AP you can listen to, I made the alternate Medea an assassin because Medea kills a lot of people. Remember that uncle who was a dumbass son of a bitch? He decided to go back on his word about the fleece. You know what Medea does? Puts the fucking madness curse on his wives and daughters, so they boil him in a cauldron, thinking he's a lamb, a sheep. Yeah, no, fucking crazy. Summer Medea should totally be an assassin. But anyway, yeah, no. Like I said, Jason was kind of a normal Greek hero, but his journey and his boat was so famous that I think every Greek culture hero wanted to try and put one of their big guys on the Argonautica at some point, or somebody related to them. Like, we've mentioned before how about, like, in most tellings, Odysseus and Achilles dodge the Argonautica because they are very explicitly supposed to be the next generation. Like, the Trojan War is supposed to take place after. But Odysseus' dad and Achilles' dad were on the Argonautica sometime, the Argonauts. So, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing between the Argonautica and the play Medea. Like, those two technically aren't actually connected. That was, that's one of those, written after. It's almost like a fucking fan fiction piece.
Yeah, and the quote unquote canon of Greek theater versus Greek oral history and myths is full of a lot of stuff like that. There are a lot of plays that are framed as tragedies or comedies that are commentary about the underlying mythos. It's kind of like how you get a work like the Historia Britannica Regum. You get like, all right, I think I figured out this Arthur guy. Here's where he was historically, and then you get somebody like Mallory writing Le Morte d'Arthur, where they drama all this shit up, right?
Like, in the actual Argonautica, Jason's just kind of a dude, really. Like, oh god, I don't know how the best way to describe him, but he just. No, like as you said, Maggie, he's just a Greek hero.
Yeah, he
doesn't do
like he does some dumbass stuff, and he does some good stuff because that's just like what Greek culture heroes were.
Yeah, like a lot of like after they got the Golden Fleece, it wasn't like Jason who fucked up; it was his crew members that fucked up. I can't remember what it is, and that like incurred the wrath of Zeus. I want to say that got them, as Zeus likes to do, blow Greek heroes completely off course and make them go through several fucking islands of bullshit.
Yeah. And then it just kind of like ends.
Yeah.
But the original Argonautica is actually kind of a flat story. Like Jason is just kind of normal. Like I said, he is a people's hero with a weakness for women and is just a normal guy and doesn't really have any character growth or development. I think the reason why the play Medea was written was because Medea as a character in the Argonautica as like a historic epic was the most interesting. She actually does two things. On the one hand, she's a motherfucking murder witch who like kills her own brother and cuts him up. On the other hand, she is supposed to, like, in anime terms, she is the heroine, right? Like, she's the main girl. So I think there's a reason why later Greek writers were like, this Medea chick's really interesting. Also, don't forget, by the way, that Kirky does have a cameo in the Argonauts. After Medea kills her brother, she says, you know what we need to go do? We need to go see my aunt. And Kirky is just like, all right, verily you are forgiven for the blood debt. Now get the fuck off my island.
Honestly, just relations are weird. Like, speaking of, like, Theseus, like that right here. I believe it's Medea's sister, who's Pashpe, who was the wife of the... Was it King of Minos? Or Minos, yes.
Yes. Yep.
King of Minos, who gave birth to Asterios, because Minos was a dick about a sacrificial offering to the gods.
Yes. He was a dick to Poseidon, and Poseidon was like, all right, I got this. I believe the way it worked was the white bull came first, and then Minos was like, I'm not giving this to Poseidon. This bull is fucking rad. And Poseidon was like, okay, here's how I'm going to solve this. Hey, Minos, your wife had sex with a bull. Sucks to suck. Also, then she has a kid who's like a flesh-eating monster. Double sucks. And what does Minos do? He's like, Daedalus, my greatest inventor, who also helped my wife have sex with that bull. I need you to build an elaborate labyrinth that no one could escape to contain this Minotaur. Also, I'm going to put you in a tower because fuck you, I don't like you. I wonder why.
If Pasiphae becomes a caster, fucking, she should totally have the fucking weird bronze Makoto Kabul just let her be like a fucking power armor or some bullshit.
Just throw some shit at you. I mean, we've seen some of the shit Daedalus has built. But yeah, no. Pasiphae is
Pasiphae.
Yeah. Is
never pronounce it right.
Kirky's sister. Like
Kirky's sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she is Medea's aunt. So Medea and Asterios are cousins. And I do believe Asterios does sometimes call Kirky auntie, and she's just like, please do not do this. Stop. Don't. And it's their brother who was Medea's father, the king of Colchis. I think it's pronounced Colchis. It might be Colchis. But I think it's Colchis, because it's Kirky.
I'm horrible with names. So
hard versus soft C's. Yeah, no. Yeah. For Latin, I took enough Latin to usually remember, like, okay, the V is actually the W sound. It's always a hard C. It's very, and, you know, J's are Y sounds. It's very easy to remember that because Gaius Julius Caesar, pronounced Gaius Julius Caesar, has, like, most of that in there. And he says, when Vici, so. Also, it makes, in Vino Veritas make much more sense when you understand it's actually pronounced in Vino Veritas. In wine there is truth.
Ah.
So that if you've ever wondered how what was written as vino became wine, it's because it was pronounced vino. It was pronounced with the W sound. But yeah, no, let me actually Theseus. While we're talking mythology, because we have fun this way. We're just.
I love the mythology. I wish I had a better head for it. I remember it was some time ago, but someone posted the ADD bingo, and I just looked at wants likes having information but can never attain it. I'm like, no, that's me.
Yeah.
It's me to a T. Love reading so much about this stuff. But...
Oh my god, this is gonna be extra funny.
What?
All right, so Theseus, he's the founder of Athens, right? So he's the Athenian big boy king. Sometimes he's considered to be a son of Poseidon. He's raised by his mother because he's descended from there. So he goes to go over to Athens, and when he reaches Athens, he finds that Aegeus, who in some connections is his father or at least his ancestor, has become remarried to formerly married to Jason, Medea.
Oh.
So Medea may possibly be Theseus' stepmother. There's no way that's gonna get weird. But yeah, Theseus unites Attica. He is responsible for building one of the cults of Aphrodite, specifically Aphrodite Pandemos, Aphrodite of the people. So let's see. So, Kings of Athens, he's childless, goes to Delphi, So, they figure all that stuff out. He comes out, goes to the young man. He got a token because he moved some stuff. He has 6 labors related to the underworld. That's funny. Yeah, and then there's the ship of Theseus and stuff. It's Pirithous, by the way, is his friend, who also I believe was his cousin, and was a dumbass trying to kidnap Persephone. Out of the underworld, once again, by the way. Very stupid. Don't do that. So yeah, there's Theseus has a lot of funny there we can get into. But all right, I think there's some other what's up stuff we can talk about.
Yeah.
I'd like to springboard off something that was point of discussion last week. You brought up Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. I've watched all of it now.
All right, cool.
Yesterday, actually. So yeah, probably like you said, don't want to give away too much of the plot because it really is just better if you go watch it. It is 6 episodes. They are like 22 minutes in length, and there's not like, a lot of like opening and ending credits or anything. So like, it's a pretty quick run. And in general, yeah, no, I have quite a lot to say positive for it myself. It's entertaining, but it's got the drama, the pathos. But I think the jokes land very well, and you were absolutely right. I was still, even though you talked about it, surprised about how far they go with some of those video game references, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was not expecting them to, like, do the full transition to, like... So, all right, this is a normally, traditionally animated series, right? You've got your normal character designs, they got all the action and stuff. They got some CG models, obviously, where they need to make it easier. But no, there are, like, straight-up interludes where they're like, fuck it, pixel art, sneaking segment, or side-scroller, like, action game segment. And then, while it is kind of like explained in universe, Lucky brought this up last time, there is a break where they just go to like super pixelated live action footage like it's an old school FMV, mystery game. With the actual, actors of those characters doing the live action bits, and it's like I like again this was such an easy watch that I sped through all of it in one night, even when I wasn't necessarily planning on it. Like I thought I might have to go back and like catch an episode or two before we recorded today. But like I was going through so fast, I forgot that was a thing, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Like he talked about the FMV segment. I guess I'm there already. So yeah, no. So like I said, I think it's just an enjoyable time because it goes by very quickly. There is a little bit of a sequel hook at the end, so we'll see. I hope it's popular enough they can go back for like a second part or season.
I think they're already working on it because I do
That's
believe, like in the thing that they said, I think they believe that their estimated time is 2025.
Okay,
I believe, but no.
Honestly, considering how much like love and care went into designing this, I can see it having a little bit of a long time to cook.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Like stories have been continuously coming out about this, and a lot of people have been asking, did Ubisoft just... I cannot remember his name, but the person who directed this also worked on Castlevania. And at one point, the guy lets them know Ubisoft sent a guy to sit in on meetings and just tell people, yes, he can do that. Because, for better or worse, the team behind this basically took all the Ubisoft characters, reimagined them in different ways, and threw them back out in new and interesting ways, like Jade from Beyond Good and Evil, Pagonman's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But I can't remember his name, but Laserhawk's boyfriend, that's actually the character from the Ubisoft game The Crew.
Yep. And he's basically completely different.
Yeah. And yeah, people were just like, can you get away with that? And I can't remember his name. I am very sorry. It's just like, yeah, they just basically gave him carte blanche to do what they wanted, to do what he wanted with the series, and it
they
honestly
were very
works.
very part of it. The like major like director and showrunner. I think he was the original like pitch writer. Yeah, he wasn't the director. He was the writer. Adi Shankar plays Niji Red.
Mm-hmm.
And the other creative director, it's Yves something. It's not Yves Guillemot, who's the head of Ubisoft, but his name is also Yves. But he plays Bullfrog, right? So, like, people who were directly involved in the making of this series also were in it. And there are some references that are more subtle. If people don't get it, Niji 6 is Rainbow Six.
Yep.
I think they were at some point supposed to be a reference to some Rainbow Six operators, but that didn't cleave very close. It was mostly just a joke that they're Rainbow Six does kind of sound like a Power Rangers team. Honestly, I know that most people think of the shocking image of Rayman doing cocaine and body sushi as, like, the shock image, but I was actually quite shocked that, like, so much time is spent developing Rayman as a character, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's one of the characters who most has an arc in this series.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that's really interesting to see. I do want to warn everybody, this is an adult animation, like,
yeah, I didn't want to warn them.
There's penises in it.
Yep.
If that's something you are careful about or don't want your granny to see, obviously there's lots of, swearing and blood and guts as well. Also, it is very much a classically cyberpunk series. Like, most of these characters are shitty people or up to their ears in morally dubious actions, or both. And those people that are at serious risk of getting got by the oppressive machine. So like I think they do their best to end with a positive note with what they got, but like I'm not gonna say it's like super emotionally hard hitting, but there's, like I said, there's some pathos there. They get some stuff out of it, considering that this is a show where like at some point they introduce rabbits as like interdimensional kaiju monsters, and then just they go away off screen. Like, yeah, so it's, like I said, I don't want to spoil anything about the plot because it is a very short watch to just get in there yourself if you're on Netflix for any reason. Check it out, especially because we're, once again, Castlevania Nocturne first season's out. Now you've got, Captain Laserhawk out, and in just a couple of weeks, Scott Pilgrim takes flight. So, Netflix Animation doing a banger.
Yeah, no, they're doing good work.
If it's authentic, I think I've seen somebody post a clip of, or the full thing of, the Scott Pilgrim opening. If it's correct, it is an actual, like, anime-ass intro. Like, it's a proper anime opening with J-pop and everything. So, like, that's cool. So, I think in general it seems like a lot of the teams doing these animations for Netflix are they're approaching everything with the right level of in there. And no, actually, no. Rayman does not fight the kaiju. When he's introduced as a character, Rayman is a late-night talk show host.
He is a... I think the best way we can put it is he is a corporate mouthpiece.
Yeah. For the Eden Corporation, who introduced the UBI, the Universal Basic Income. Yeah, many of these little jokes out there.
Like I said, the team was not shy about it. And Ubisoft was just like, go for it, full send.
Honestly, and given like how Rainbow Six Siege in particular has such longevity, and if you don't think Rainbow Six Siege has like longevity and market value, I would like to remind you, they've collabed with several gacha games.
I can just remember Arknights off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, they had an Arknights collab, and I think at some point also did they work with Girls Frontline as well?
They probably did, yeah.
Like that, there's a lot of shit going on there. Rainbow Six has like crazy longevity and reach, so like it's good. Well, yeah, it's big and there's a lot of corporate interference. But also, I mean, I think that there have been some poor game decisions from Directive. Luckily, it does seem like Assassin's Creed Mirage is a very good return to form if you like Assassin's Creed games. I'm kind of take it or leave it on Assassin's Creed. I've played a little of like some Ezio stuff in 2 because a lot of that's available on PS Plus, and it's like all right, but yeah. It is kind of funny though that like whatchamacallit, like their assassin Bullfrog, right, is like, nah, he's a pretty alright guy. He's an assassin, fighting Templars. He's doing stuff. He's pretty good at his job, but also he's very funny.
Also, he's the heart.
Yeah, no, like your Dolph Laserhawk as your protagonist is very much boilerplate cyberpunk protagonist. He's got military grade implants and he's on the run from the military. And he's mostly about just revenge. He is betrayed early and is about revengifying himself. And that's it. That's what we got. But he's a pretty cool dude, and his arm can become a plasma cannon and a grappling hook.
That's like some peak Contra level shit there.
Yeah, no. Especially considering that he does get that like 2D side-scroller segment as well. But yeah, no, like Niji 6 is like Eden's sponsored, crime fighting team who are all dressed like I said, like Power Rangers, and Red is kind of a big jerk ass, So there's a lot of fun there. And yeah, just don't feel too attached to any of your characters. If you're one of those people who has perhaps gotten into Cyberpunk through like, say, I don't know, you heard that like Cyberpunk Edge Runners was cool, expect like that level of lethality. Just so everybody knows what they're getting into. But yeah, you'll have a good time. Like I said, I think they do a good job pacing out between like, serious hard-hitting moments of like, oh fuck, that's bad, that's a bad thing that happened, with jokes. And there's some genuine badass moments. Like, I don't know if this is supposed to be like a commentary on Mirage or just how weird Assassin's Creed is, but like Bullfrog can blow bubbles that show him the future, and at one point he's got a moment of like, oh yes, no, it's true, it's an ability I have. Would you like to know which one of you dies first? And then just proceeds to like take apart some mooks.
Well, I don't think they were mooks. I think those were like
lieutenants. I guess they're LTs. They're king mooks. They're mid bosses. But yeah, like they were recurring characters. But like no, it's pretty good. Like it's good. Continuity wise, it doesn't make any goddamn sense with any of those other universes. Don't count on any of that going out there. But it's thematically appropriate to a lot of the stuff, and it's a good time.
It is a good time. I am excited to see if they come up with something next. It was one of those things that I wasn't sure I was going to be necessarily all about, but like I said, I kind of like the story is interesting overall, but I do feel like it's very rapid pace. I feel like they had to shove quite a bit in 6 episodes. It almost feels like it's served as a movie, kind of. Like actually, I think it is pretty much almost movie length with 6 episodes around
6
like
episodes at 22 minutes.
It's like that's less than 2.5 hours, honestly. That's 2 hours.
That's
10.
like 130 minutes. Yeah, that's definitely like movie length or TV miniseries length.
Yeah.
So it's solid. It goes by pretty fast, and it's not like there are, I think, some cliffhanger moments that work as episode breaks, but they also work as not episode breaks. Right? Like if you I literally watched it all back to back to back, and it just kind of flowed. Literally lost track of what episode I was on at some point. So
I I love the open a VHX from the future. I was like, yeah.
Oh, and I love. I watch most things on Netflix with subtitles. First of all, there were a couple points where explicitly they referenced Captain Laserhawk's like personal leitmotif is "Turbo Killer" by Carpenter Brute.
Yep.
Which is pretty fucking rad. But most of the times the subtitles when music plays just says "Dark Synthwave plays," and I'm just like, yes, correct. So yeah, if brackets Dark Synthwave close brackets is your vibe, you will enjoy the series. Give it a gander if you want to have a go. But yeah, speaking of Cyberpunk stuff, I'm kind of curious. You know, like you've done your full character restart as in 2077.
Yeah, like I said, there's some patches. I think I still need some patches. Like I haven't been really talking about it, but my Cyberpunk still crashes like on the semi-reg. Like maybe like once every like 3 days, I'll get a dump.
Yeah, that is weird to me because I have not had any major crashes, I think, since 2.0. There have technically been some parts where some stuff has like stayed borked and I've had to reload, but I don't think it's that's not entirely true. I had a couple of crashes early, but that's because my PS5 was overheating because I had to clean out the fan. It was a little dusty. That is a problem I have had before when I get a little bit of dust buildup combined with it being hot in my room, it will actually like overheat and shut down. But since I took a moment to take my covers off and really get in there with the canned air and a Q-tip, it's been fine. But like,
actually, completely fucking side tangent.
Go.
You mentioned Q-tip. You know, our good old generic brand.
Yeah, generic trademark.
Cotton swabs. I use them on the reg to clean out my ears.
Yes. Which according to medical professionals you're not supposed to do, but I'm terrible at scratching the inside of my ears with my fingers, okay?
Yeah, no, I actually didn't know that people weren't supposed to do that. They actually have a warning on the box, like, do not insert into your ear. I'm like, but what else am I supposed to stick in there?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of a blanket warning about, like, in case you do perforate your eardrums. Oh, God, but that's even grosser. Hot water in my ear? Ugh. That sounds a lot.
That's not going to get out the earwax?
Ear picks, I could see that. I mean, if you want to get really crazy, there is, like, neti pot type shit. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's like McDonald's saying, coffee hot. Like, yes, their coffee is really, really fucking hot. People do kind of... it's one of those things where we joke about the coffee hot. The lady who actually got burned in that lawsuit, like, did get, like, I think, like, 2nd or 3rd degree burns. Like, it was...
Oh, yeah, no,
it was pretty bad. But it is one of those kind of things where, like, somebody did get burned because their coffee is really, really hot when it comes out of the machine. So...
yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, like, that warning wasn't on there until someone literally jams there in their ear and started bleeding from their head.
Yeah. Don't do it hard enough to puncture your eardrum. You should know, and I know to, like, gently scratch at the inside of my ear, but they're allegedly not for your ears. I guess that means they are just for cleaning electronics these days. I mean, I've done the drop thing, but that's usually from pool experiences.
Yeah, that never works for me. My earwax is a tough son of a bitch. I have to dig around to get that shit out. Yeah. But I'm sorry, I completely derailed with that because you said Q-tips and it just, sparked me. But we were talking Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk, yeah. And as I said, I was actually kind of curious to hear some of your... I know you've been taking some clips when you've been getting glitches, because, like, generally my experience has been pretty normal. I've had some visual bugs, I've had some, some weird shit. I did actually have, I think, just an unintentional error earlier today. I did a gig where I had to deliver a vehicle to a place, and that place just happened to not just be a garage where I could deliver a car for a gig, not for Moor, actually. It's one of the extra gigs they had in 1.6. Well, actually, it was a Moor gig, but not the car contract. But also, it was like an enemy hideout, so when I exited the vehicle in the drop-off zone, I was in like a non-hostile zone, but there were enemies in the garage trying to shoot me, who were also fighting the friendly NPCs in the garage, so like...
Oh, I got that bug too, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I think they, like, accidentally put, like, a assault in progress or, another, like, weird thing in there, and it just got kind of glitchy. I had to, like, leave and come back to fight those guys. So, like, I've gotten a few oddball things, but mostly my performance has been pretty alright. So you've still been having a spot of bother, which is interesting to me, because now we're both playing on PS5 version on PS5.
Yeah.
right? You know, you've made sure to get your upgraded version and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it's PS5. No, the main problem I had on my previous playthrough was one, I used my fucking attribute respect too soon, and when I actually realized what I wanted to do, it was too late. I couldn't go back. I was like, shit. Because I discovered I really like cool. I just like pistols. I can just walk up to someone, blast them in the head, blam. Octocama go. They didn't see shit.
Yeah, the fork they did for cool in 2.0 is really good. I think we mentioned before, cool is now explicitly sniper rifles and precision rifles, and pistols and revolvers.
And throwables, which are not I'm not sure if they're melee weapons or not.
I think they still count as their type of melee weapon when you use them to melee. Like a knife is still gets access to blade perks. I assume Tomahawk also might get access to blade. I assume Tomahawks are blades, not clubs.
I don't know. Because I look on things, you have blades, you have machetes, you have throwables, you have clubs. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I need a fucking a chart of what falls under what.
Yeah.
No, you cannot reach match stacks.
Might say. No, you cannot go. You can't get Oops All 20s. But I am level 59 and I am 20, 20, 20, 10, 10. So no dump stat, which is nice.
You know, being able just to have a solid 10 is great.
I mean, since my low stats are body and int, it has actually been pretty good at getting those last couple levels to be like, oh yeah, I can actually occasionally talk about like internet things or move heavy objects. It does kind of interesting to me as just like a little weird control scheme thing that like normally it's square to interact, right, chat?
Yeah.
When you have a door or other object, you can both force and I don't know,
technicalize.
Yeah, technicalize. It defaults to force and open with body as your square button. I have had that happen a couple times where I'm like, the game's like, you can't open this, and I'm like, oh, right, it's both. I need to hold triangle. So it's kind of odd there. I also wish there was a good way to quick switch grenades, because like I like optic camo, but also sometimes I aggro enemies and want to blow them all up. So I have accidentally been looking at a cluster of like 3 guys and turned invisible. It doesn't really help.
I mean, honestly, that's why I call it a target-rich environment, because I was complaining about this to you the other day, but I have finally overcome my lack of a cyber deck. Like, even like through this initial playthrough, like for like half the game, I still had that as cyber deck. Until I got the Apogee. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Apogee.
Yeah, Apogee.
It's an iconic Sandevistan. Specifically, it's David's Sandevistan. And I have understood the power of just slowing down time, popping people on the head, and just moving on. It is really effective. And you know what they say about stealth? If everyone's dead, you're still in stealth.
There's actually, by the way, funnily enough, there's a perk for this in, I think it's Blades, but it might be in Cool and Ninjutsu, but it's like, there's a move where you can, like, if you kill somebody, like, right away, it might be, I think it's in Ninjutsu, actually, it's in Cool. If you kill somebody very shortly after they become alert, nobody else is alerted.
Yes.
Which is great. My preferred alternative to the Cyber deck is, I have the iconic Militech Berserk. So you can't shoot people when you go Berserk, but you do get access to melee weapons, and you don't take it, with the iconic, Berserk, you don't take any damage while you're in Berserk, and you don't use any stamina, so... this is how I have won all of my beat on the brat fights, is I just immediately go berserk and punch the shit out of them until they guard and can't be guard broken. I kind of feel like there's some programming there to avoid, like, exploits, right? Like, even if you do a power attack, they kind of stay guarding most of the time. But you can still counter punch them, so that's normally what I do. That still rocks in berserk, but, like, there are times when I'm just, like, unsheath katana, look at a group of, like, 20 guys and just be like, okay, activates Berserk. You're all dead. It's fun. I do kind of wish there was a purpose to activate Berserk in cars. I might pick up I have a Sandy. I just need to go to a guy to install it. I think I have the iconic Militech Sandevistan, not the...
I do believe you get that one as a drop just somewhere.
Yeah.
The Apogee you have to buy. I'm not and I think it's just automatically unlocked after some point. I don't even know if you have to do the Edge Runners quest, but you might have to.
Yeah, it's probably just a note, because I think the only thing to do the Edge Runners quest you get is David's jacket, because you can just find guts out in the wild.
That reminds me, I got Edge Runner. I should go equip the Axolotl. I'm gonna do that real quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. So in general, game very good buff, but still a little buggy in some places. Like he's been So you still have not gotten the pop-up for vehicle contracts?
No, I go run around in because I have both. I still have it saved. I'm just running around getting there. My new character's already level 49, and I haven't even done automatic love yet, but I have cleared most gigs, and
Yeah, they definitely did something to the EXP curve.
I don't mind it. Like, I was actually thinking about this. Like, even if I hit level 60 at this point, this FPS RPG just then becomes an FPS. I'm all like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And I mean, you still will... I assume the game does not necessarily stop spawning perk shards. They're still rare, but I assume you can still pick up a couple.
In certain areas, I think perk shards are like guaranteed drops in certain areas. I think.
Yeah. But I would also I would want to guess they probably do still spawn at the procedural stuff, which is airdrops and I think vehicle contracts. And
yeah.
I don't actually know if the Dogtown increased criminal activity thing is supposed to be continuous, because I've only ever seen the one.
Well, this is the problem I have with, like, some of the things just might not be properly spawning. Because the main issue I'm having, specifically in Phantom Liberty right now, is I never got the initial mission to unlock vehicle contracts.
Yep.
And, like I said, we did just get our 2.02 update, our patch, which did highlight some problems, some that errors I did realize I did have, but I really didn't care about. For example, twice I had one of my pieces of cyberware just drop back down to its lowest rarity. I was all like, that's not supposed to do that. And I was very concerned. I also think I had another couple of them, but I can't remember what they were off the top of my head. But it's the missing out on the vehicle contracts is not necessarily like the end of the world. I do feel like I am missing out on some pretty swank content. Because I do those pretty regularly, and what you get out of that is, first of all, if you do like all the bonus objectives, you get a little crate that's basically like an airdrop crate. You've done airdrops, so you know what's in them. So it's like you get like, a tier 5 plus random weapon and random mod. I think gotten like very rarely a perk shard from it, but usually you get like 1 or 2 skill shards. Mm-hmm.
And you get a lot of crafting components, and also you get a permanent discount on items at Auto Trader, and also as you do deliveries, you unlock more vehicles. So like, there's a lot of really interesting, weird cars that are locked behind this minigame, basically, which they did improve upon.
Yeah, they did fix it. Like, apparently, some people, like you said, at one point they rebalanced it, so now you don't have
They rebalanced the timers, which was something that I had personally been running against, because like I said before, there are times when you would be driving, because Muir wants all kinds of cars. I have like stolen pickup trucks and vans for him, right?
Right.
So sometimes you can be driving a slow piece of shit, and he's like, okay, Chum, need you to drive 2 kilometers in like 1 minute. And I'm like, you want me to drive 2 clicks in 1 minute in a piece of shit beater in downtown Night City traffic? Literally not possible. Like, you would have to be like doing some fucking frame perfect driving to pull those off. Since they did the 2.02 update, it seems like the times... No, these are all grounded cars, Axe. No, they are not flying. There's no flying vehicles, sadly, that you can control. So, like, since they have done the rebalance, I have noticed the timers are generally more generous, especially if you are also expected to fight enemies. Like, I have actually seen times upward of, like, 5 or 6 minutes, which is a load of time to do stuff. So, yeah, it's... There's still some weirdness, like... Well, you have to deliver a car to a place, so you can't... The car needs to get somewhere, so you need to drive it physically, which has its own issues. There's still some weirdness. Good in general, the way the navigation system works is I wish it put stuff in your field of view. Because when you're on the highway, knowing which is like an exit and which is just a turn is hard sometimes. It's especially hard when you get the rare sandstorm, aka end of the world weather. Spoilers, it's hard to drive.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way about doing vehicle contracts in that weather. I will not do that again because it sucked because I couldn't see shit. And I know it's a me thing. I understand. I'm still a little annoyed about police because I know they don't spawn behind you forever, but I'm fairly certain that when the game does the patrol car phase, it always spawns one of them in a road directly in front of you.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
Which unfortunately, when you're doing vehicle contracts and you do need to drive usually the straightest, fastest route to get somewhere specific, does make it really hard to avoid police patrols. So, it is a little annoying when you're You have to deal with the way people drive in Night City, which people do still drive like... They drive like video game drivers, you know? Like, the AI is scripted on their path, so if you bash them out of their path, they'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? And then they will do their damnedest to get back into their lane, right? Which is not... I don't think is normal driving behavior. Like, I know that there's, like, some extreme cases of, like, road rage, but, like, normally I feel like if you were in a fender bender accident, you would probably, like, pull off, wait a few minutes, and then try to get back to your business, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, them calling the cops on me is the most realistic part of running into people. It's just annoying. But yeah, it's there's still some oddball stuff, but generally I think the timers are better, which is good because, oh boy, I rage quit some gigs when Mumar was like, El Capitan was like, hey, I need you to drive a place in like 2 minutes and enemies are after you, and I'm just like, no. Reload my save to before I take this mission, use the explosive sniper rifle to violently destroy the car, walk away. Like, very petty bullshit that I can get away with. It's another one of those things, because, like, again, I know it's a me thing, but I don't know. I'm not supposed to enjoy it when video game characters chew me out for stuff, but I don't know why. It always rubs me a little the wrong way when he's like, oh man, you fucked up this timer, and I'm like, well, the game designer set the timer. And now I do feel a little vindicated, because the game designers apparently went, okay, the timers were probably not balanced right. Let's fix that a little. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't feel like disheartened or like, oh, I could do better next time. I'm just like, well, you set the terms, Mr. Disappointed in me. It's mostly just the timer stuff, I know. At least there's no, like, loud beeping or yelling sounds, so, like, I don't get anxiety to the timers, you know? But
Sonic 2 so fucking it's a good one.
I think, honestly, as far as systems go, they're a lot, looser, right? Like, with the way the airdrops work, they only happen in Dogtown, right?
Yep.
Vehicle contracts can literally be anywhere, and El Capitan has several different places you can drive for the drop-off. Like, I've driven to Rocky Ridge, that town in the middle of the Badlands before, you know? Like, he's got garages and empty lots right next to Dogtown in Pacifica. Shit all over the place. Airdrops, I think, are a little better because they are, like, completely ambient. They have a little bit of, like, on-foot action to them. But you can still totally stumble into them. I literally finished, like, a side quest or a gig, left the building, and walked into an airdrop. I was like, why the fuck are all these guys out here? Oh, shit, this is an airdrop fight. There's Scavs and Bargus fighting each other. Jeez. Okay, cool. So yeah, like, I think that one's a little better, but obviously is geographically limited to only Dogtown. So it is kind of a shame that if you can't get the vehicle contracts to proc. And like I said, there are some neat cars that El Capitan unlocks that way. So yeah, it's going. I have been staving off doing, like, heavy lifting in the plot, just because I don't want to get interrupted in the middle. But after we're done with the show, though, I think I could use a hot shower and a shave after we're done recording here. But I do think I want to get into it for realsies, because it's definitely really interesting. You know, like, you've also done some of the lead up and stuff, right? So.
Oh yeah, to
yeah.
I can't think of her name right now, but
Alex.
Yes, Alex.
That was a pretty fun one because she's got, like, experimental shape changing, face changing, you know, cyberware
and hair changing too.
Yeah, and you know, you actually can schedule a physical meeting with Mr. Hands, which is really interesting. I once again, I've said this before, but I will reiterate. I completely understand why they redid him, because he is, like, infinitely more of a character.
Oh yeah,
but the motherfucker straight up is like, "Hey, want some tea?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And then Mr. Hands proceeds to sit down with me and have me, like, drink tea on his couch. Like, it's pretty good. He talks shit about Dexter Deshawn. I love that. So yeah, like, shit. They do some good work there. But also you start to see, you know, because you get the lead that you need to get into the Black Sapphire through some very spookenings. So, like,
eh?
Yeah, some stuff happens. Like, there's a lot going on there, and you really get a line on Solomon Reed, which I generally, Idris Elba's performance is great. I think he's written very well, but he is written like a spook. So, like, everything I feel like is like, do I be cool? Do I trust him? You know, how much is true about his cover?
I'm a little concerned about J&T. Like, I'm keep afraid that I'm gonna walk around the hotel. I'm just gonna find their bodies.
Like, yeah, no. Yeah, the fact that he sends a text message with, "Yeah, our friends got their reward." I'm just like, so they're dead and hidden somewhere in the hideout, right? like Reed had those guys whacked off screen while I wasn't looking.
I do find it hilarious though that if you go back there, President Myers left a note saying left a donation for like J&T. So it's like, is she on the up and up? Did she actually? Because you get paid, by the way.
Yes.
I
love
from
that.
the what do they call it?
The Feline Rescue Society or something like that.
Yeah.
They call the president. Thank you for rescuing Mittens. She's on her way to a new home now. Which actually, by the way, I was kind of shocked. Like, I mean, I think it's better, but I was surprised that like you do this really high octane rescue the president thing, and then once you get Solomon Reed, you get her out of there. Like, I thought that would be more of the plot. And who knows, it might come back, but like,
I thought it was interesting too, because especially it looked like she was gonna set up office.
Yeah.
Like when you get her to the safe house, she literally takes a room and turns it into an office and does work in there. I'm just like,
yeah,
oh,
and you can joke to Reed later about, oh, she's already she's already gonna have her campaign office open by the time we get back, kind of a thing. But no, it turns into just your little extra hideout later.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it is cute. While it is an abandoned apartment, they give you an apartment in Dogtown. It's funny. A lot of the gigs and the side quests are like really well written. With lots of cyberpunk ass things happening. I did a job for a reporter, and because she was the client and I was paid to keep her safe, I kept her safe, and she was like, I'm gonna release the story, and then fucking Mr. Hands called me a couple days later and is like, by the way, V, hey, heads up, you might have a hunter after you. That reporter published her story, and now people are disappearing. Good luck. Click. I'm just like, what the fuck? And a lot of the gigs,
that's just cock gun. It's like,
I mean, yes, if you're V, like, as at level 59, I'm just like, all right, fucking let him. Come at me, scrub lords, I'm ripped. But yeah, like, almost all of the gigs and side quests have those kind of, like, little extra weird spice to them, right? Like, I like it a lot. But I do need to actually, like, get into the plot, because I feel like, crashing a hotel is pretty cool, so we'll get in there.
Yeah, no, I gotta work on where I need to at least finish Pan Am's quest line so I can say fucking that gonk ass Paco.
Yeah, say Paco get gun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, I think you can get him smuggled out anyway. It's just that you have to you might have to pay some cash to help him out or arrange a smuggler, as opposed to just like the way it works if you call Pan Am, which is just like, hey Pan Am, you know a guy? And she's like, yes, I know a guy. Direct your friends to him. It's $2,000 up front. All right, peace.
Oh god, I did that with my male V, and she was like super fucking flirty throughout the whole time. I'm like, god damn it! I do love these little touches.
I mean, the funny thing is, you're gonna find that this was a point of contention for several players. Is that Pan Am's behavior really isn't any different if you're female V, up to a point.
Yeah.
Where she puts her boots in your lap. If you're female V and you try to take that someplace, that's when she's kind of like, I don't know about that.
Well, even if you're male V, she does that, but you still have to do that to unlock the romance.
It's a different vibe. Like, Pan Am's conclusion is, I don't think about you that way, V. Not, we probably should bang in the middle of a sandstorm while Saul's next door.
Yeah.
But it's funny. But yes, I've already run through my complete, Judy romance line, so I keep getting funny little texts from her. She sends stuff to my apartment. Honestly,
I'm a little sad, because I did Judy's romance, and I really like that you actually have, a scuba diving mission in the ruins. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
that was,
very
so
unique.
much. It's very unique, and while Pan Am stuff is good, it's a lot more direct, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shooting, dudes.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of it is it's the character arc of Pan Am goes, Rogue says Pan Am needs your help, you call Pan Am and say, hey, you need my help, let me help you out there. And you help her out, and then, you keep going down, assuming that you keep enabling her behavior. This is actually a quality I like of Cyberpunk, in that if you, for some reason, don't like Pan Am or think she's doing something stupid, you can absolutely be like, I'm done with this, okay?
Yeah, apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently, if you convince Pan Am not to go after Nash, Rogue's like, that was very professional, and gives you a car. Also, if you rat out Pan Am to Saul about the whole Militech hover tank thing, Saul is like, very good, very nice, have a car. I'm just all like, really?
Yeah, he gives you another special Aldecaldo's bike, I think, or car.
I think it's a car. I think it's like
but it's, I mean, that means you don't get to drive the Basilisk, so it's automatically not as cool, even if you can't keep the Basilisk. But yeah, I think the reason why the Pan Am Aldecaldo story is so more direct in gameplay is because it is basically the path to an extra ending, right? Like, it's a more direct side quest, just like, making your way with other fixers or stuff is. Whereas, unfortunately, as part of Judy's, like, plot line, her subplot with Clouds kind of ends the same way no matter what. Like, she's trying to affect a positive change in Night City, and that just don't work. Also, spoilers, the game needs to give her a reason to want to leave Night City no matter what happens. Because she does. I don't know what point they decided that writing, But, like you said, because of who Judy is, the fact that while she does have a couple of points where she will follow you along as an NPC, she's not really a combat character, she's a techie at heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that means you get a lot of points where, like, she'll send you to do sneaking stuff, or, she'll call you in to just have a conversation with her friends about stuff, have talking side quests, basically. Try to diplomatize. And obviously, Pyramid Love ends with this, really, like I said, very unique, the only mandatory underwater segment in the game.
Yeah.
And which also has some of my it's a little subtle, and I kind of wish they did more of it, though it makes sense because it's funny, right? Johnny does not like Judy. Like, he has to mute there for a second. Johnny doesn't like Judy. Johnny likes Pan Am. I mean, I think we can be reasonably certain as well that kind of works the way for the male interests as well. Obviously, Johnny likes Carrie because, sexual tension. But, River being a cop, there's no way Johnny likes him. But it is kind of funny to see those comparisons, but, like, Judy's quest line ends with, the diving segment where you do that stuff, and then after you have your plot-mandated relic attack, because we always have to have you pass out and cough up blood a lot at one point, there's a moment where, Johnny actually speaks, and Judy's like, oh, hey, I hear that guy. It's like, wild. Not even when you're fucking V-linked to Pan Am's car, even though he does say, now Pan Am in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, here's Johnny. She doesn't actually perceive that. She's just like, hey, I think your relic slot might be a little bugged. Weird. I'm trying to remember if when you do the Basilisk Sync plugin, if Johnny actually shows up, or if he has the good sense to just not. I do not recall. Please hold for a second. I'm going to pause the recording because I need to take a sip of water. All right, I will resume the recording. Before that little break, I was talking about how it's very interesting how Johnny reacts very differently to Judy and Pan Am. He does not like Judy. He likes Pan Am. But there is that moment in Pyramid Love where, like, Judy actually gets to, perceive Johnny, which is not normal. Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
Something I wish they capitalized a little more on, but I kind of understand why they wouldn't, or why Johnny wouldn't specifically. But yeah, we took a little slightly enforced break there. Anything else to say about Cyberpunk?
Have I bitched about? Have I bitched on air about how I don't like how weapon drops work?
Maybe, but go for it. I don't think you've given your specific example that I remember from earlier this week.
Yeah. So with Cyberpunk 2.0, they did a lot away with like some things. Like, you don't have to find, like, you can't find you don't have to craft your clothing, and they redid their mods and how accessories work. But the problem is they dumbed it down in some areas, and I don't think they necessarily should have. Because there's two types of weapons in here. You have your regular weapons that you can buy in stores and find on bodies and stuff. Then you have your iconic weapons. Iconic weapons usually have a unique skin and usually have some unique abilities, but also they're the ones that you can, even if you get it at tier 1, I think there are a couple you can get at tier 1, well, depending on what your level is, things scale, but you can go to tier 1 all the way to 5++. That is, like, I think 11 layers of upgrading you can do. You can take that one weapon all the way with you, all the way to the top. You can't do that with other weapons, like, and the problem I have with this is there's some weapons I use that don't have unique variants, and so I have to rely on RNG in the field or getting lucky at the store trying to find one, because the main pistol I use is a Tamayura. It's high damage, low ammo, but very good at handling. I can fire this thing from the hip and get, and I can shoot someone in the head. Like, I love this. I also used a Shigure for my submachine gun, which isn't really that different from the Saratoga. It just, like, looks slightly better in my opinion. And, the aesthetics. And for my third weapon, I like to use a QB. It's a power assault rifle, but it's very nice in the fact that it is a semi-automatic assault rifle. I do not, lightly push the trigger and spray 5 bullets. It's just bang. I basically use that as my pocket sniper rifle because guess what? Unlike actual precision rifles and sniper rifles, I can put a silencer on it, which is great.
Yeah, I think the only silenced rifle is, since sniper rifle is Overwatch.
Yep, which is unique to Pan Am's line and still is a big fucking boy.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Not as big as the other one of the, like, iconic grad, the 05, which I think I literally actually, I don't know if I've tried trying to sprint with Overwatch, but I know for a fact the 05, which is the exploding one, only holds 3 bullets and you cannot dash or sprint with it.
Yeah, so, like, that's why I like using the QB, because, unfortunately, there's not, like, I think the precision rifle is basically the DSRs, not DSR, DMRs.
Yep. No, definitely.
And those are pretty good. Like, I do like using the Nekomata, and I do like using the, actually, isn't the Nekomata a sniper rifle? I can't remember.
The Nekomata is the smart sniper? Yeah.
No, tech sniper.
Right, yes, that's the tech sniper. The Ashtada is the smart sniper.
Yeah. But, I do like using the SOR-22. Like, that one's pretty good, but it is still a huge-ass boy. So I like using the QB. Now, I will say this. I did find this out later. There is a iconic QB. It's there are actually a couple of iconic QBs, but they're in Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
What's it called? Bald Eagle? Hawk?
Hawk. Yeah, Hawk is Professor Meyer's rifle.
Yeah, but also you can get the I like this one actually the best. It's called the QB Mod 2.
Yes. I think I've seen a video listing some of the.
Yeah. Actually, it's very. I actually like heard about that, and I had to look it up because it's not from a mission in Dogtown, like right over there by. Oh God, where is it? I can't remember. But there's a pool of water and you have to dive down deep to get it. It's like near the pyramid somewhere. But yeah, that one does, like, just has slightly better stats and has 2 free mod slots, which is great. But like I said, there's no iconic Tamayura or Shigure. Which means I have to find a 5++ somewhere out in the world or in a shop, and I'm not entirely sure if shop inventories rotate. I really don't. Because I've also been trying to find, like, right now, just a tier 5 Tomahawk. Because even though it's like not my main thing, I do like carrying like a knife or melee weapon around just in case, because listen, I fire an SMG. I go through bullets like it's nobody's business. And when most of the weapons I use are small caliber, it can go pretty quick. So it's just one of those things. I'm just like, I feel like they could have like made this a little bit more streamlined. Like, even finding blueprints for certain weapons is a pain in the dick. Like, there is just no. I don't know if there's even like a comprehensive list of getting like high level blueprints for all the weapons you want to make. I kind of feel like there's still this thing of, like, use it and toss it away, which I personally have never been much of a fan of. I like taking my gear with me, like, with me. That's why I do like iconic weapons, because, like I said, if you have one that you like, you get the Dying Knight and from Wilson at the beginning. If you just keep upgrading it, you can have a 5++ by the hell, depending on how you do your crafting, you can get the 5++ fucking early as fuck. Like I said, you can start off upgrading crafting materials all the way up to orange, if you wanted to. But it's just those things of like, yeah, it's great for the iconic weapons, but what about when I can't get the iconic weapon and I need the weapon that I need now to be something? Hey, bro, you okay? You just kind of.
Yeah, there's a couple of odd ones. Like, so I decided to do some double checking. There is a unique Tomahawk.
Yeah.
The Ago, but that's it's Phantom Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
There is, as you said, there is no unique Shigure. I think that's because the idea is that the Arasaka Shigure is kind of like outdated. It's been replaced by the Militech Saratoga. It has like a similar like fluff and roughly similar design, but not exactly the same.
Yeah, no, they're pretty same.
Saratoga has a couple of unique variants.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of interesting that there's no like total unique ones. I think that may be one of the only ones where they don't have at least one with Phantom Liberty, I should keep in mind. So yeah. But yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. Like, occasionally I have been like, just because I don't like stuff to take up space, I've like packed some of my iconic weapons into the whatchamacallit, into my stash and then unpack them. I will grab like appropriately tiered weapons when I just need to switch up for some stuff. Because like, I kind of agree, like, obviously I started as a Reflex and Blades character, so I always have a katana handy. Specifically, I use the Sumitogi now, because that does the shock damage, and was pretty well leveled up, though I also used errata for a while. But then I have 2 other slots. Usually I like something like lighter, like a pistol or SMG, for close quarters work, right? And then something for a little bit of reach, because I like... Sorry, it's my cardboard box in my... So, I have to put it back up. I don't know what you're tugging on or making it fall over. Hopefully things are okay. But, where was I? Right, weapons. I like, long-range stuff, too. I've tried some sniper rifles and some precision rifles. You get, Widowmaker very early in Pan Am's line, right?
Yep.
Very fun gun. I actually, with 2.02, they increased the ammo capacity. Now it holds 10 shots.
Oh, do they?
Which means it holds 5 shots, because every shot is worth 2. But it fires 8, so it's cool. But, yeah, they've rebalanced some stuff in weapons. But, yeah, so, like... But then there are other times where I'm like, God, there's a lot of enemies, but they're moderately far away. I'd really like to, switch to something fully automatic a little bit, because I also have a lot of points in that. So I balance a few things, and sometimes I pick up some odd things.
Odd things.
Yeah, I just random shit off the ground. What is the... I think my favorite pistol right now is... Yeah, it's one of the new Militech Tycon pistols they added, the Tech pistol, which can charge to fire multiple rounds. You get the... Solomon has his own version. I don't think does the wiki not list this unique version? Unless I am misremembering exactly where it is. Yes, they don't appear to actually list, but I got it from that whatchamacallit, that guy. Who rescued the Zeta Tech guy with the eyeball. He gave me a unique one.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. I don't think he gave me anything.
Well, he called me back later. And was
maybe
hey, V, you got me out. Give me the, call me back. So maybe it hasn't procced yet, but yeah.
Well, then again, like, I don't know what's proccing and not proccing in my game, so...
Yeah, it does happen sometimes. It's kind of funny. I think the weapons with the most unique variants is...
Katanas? I think there's like 5 unique katanas.
Yeah. I think that's the melee weapon with the most, and for ranged weapons, it's probably either the Liberty pistol or the Lexington pistol, because there's like 3 or 4 of each of those. Yeah, the Lexington has 4, which includes Dying Knight, and then the Liberty has 4, which includes Congo, Plan B, Pride, Seraph, etc. Oh, actually, no, it's the Overture Revolver, because that has 5, which is a fuck ton. But yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, because I occasionally try to hunt crafting specs, but I understand why they simplified the upgrading side of crafting, because, one, I do think they want to make it actually so that, like, basically, they wanted a way for weapons to scale up now that they took special perks out of it, right?
Right.
They wanted to make a way for weapon crafting to scale appropriately without necessarily giving you a perk tax, but also not making it so that you could be making, like, tier 5++ weapons, like, in Act 1. Obviously, you could still probably level grind all the way to do that, but it would be hard, because you'd run out of activities, But, I do kind of think, though, that something is lost. Like, honestly, they probably don't need to do it that way. Like, they could probably just make it so that you can upgrade regular weapons as well. Because you would still need... Because the way they made it is, it's just, tier X components. There's no longer upgrade and crafting components, It's just the one component. And merchants don't sell those to you anymore. So the only way to get them is through level drops anyway, or by scrapping shit. So, like, I feel like the material requirements to upgrade are already synced to the level progression, right?
Right.
So I don't think they actually needed to, like, cut those things out for you. And I kind of agree that, like, I like how they simplified crafting and upgrading, but it does kind of leave, like, specific stuff to be desired, because this is still a thing that bothers me a little bit, and I don't think it's something they ever, like, really promised, but it's something that I would assume would be relatively easy to do, but I don't like that our weapons and vehicles very clearly have multiple cosmetic skins and stuff, much like your clothes, but you can't switch them at all.
No.
Like, obviously, iconic weapons look iconic, but, like, I don't know, what if I want a pistol that's Mox-themed versus a pistol that's Tiger Claws-themed, you know? All these weapons have different skins. Barghest has all unique skins for their weapons, you know, that are kind of their yellow and black color scheme, shit like that. And there's no real way for you, the player, to fix that other than, I don't know, like, randomly crafting stuff and hoping you get a good one. If that even works, like, I don't actually know if that generates different visual appearances every time, you know? So, and it's the same with cars. Like, most cars, I think, are pretty iconic. Like, I can't imagine driving the anything but the red Kusanagi, you know, the Akira-style bike. I always make sure to get Merkman's black Caliburn and shit like that. But there are other cars that I'm like, okay, you know, silver or black is cool, but I've definitely seen these cars in, like, you know, blues and reds, you know. There's a lot of, like, gaudy, like, gold cars, which you can only get a couple of, usually through special events and stuff. Like, you can get that one big, like, you know, power car thing from that one boxing match. He gives you his kind of golded out Valentino's type car.
Oh, yeah, I always take the car, but give him the Eddies.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, to me, that's much who the fuck needs the Eddies, baby? The car is unique.
It is.
So, yeah, shit like that.
Like, I still melt every time if you, like, as you leave, he's like, have you thought of a name? He's like, something with a V? I'm just like,
Yeah. Well, because, you know, you're kind of bailing his ass out there, because technically you made it so he won the money bet, even though you beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And just took his car. And you can have a very pointed conversation with him about, like, hey, you should focus on the things that are actually important in your life. You got shit to do, okay? Alright, bye. V out. Drive away in his car, blasting Moral Rock Radio.
But
yeah, it's definitely, like, it's just one of those things that, like, I wish that the kind of, like, customization of my look, my riz, could match both my clothes to my car and my guns. Because I already do themed outfits. I could do themed
definitely.
guns and cars, too.
No, I have a fucking Wraith outfit and a Mox outfit right now that I run. I'm working on my NCPD outfit right now, so I can run around town, steal a car, and call myself Super Cop.
You know, there's always I have, you know, an outfit that usually tends towards the red and black, which involves a lot of the samurai stuff, you know?
Yeah.
The Mox obviously have their kind of, like, very unique color schemes. I usually like to like, coordinate by color. Like, I have a very yellow outfit, including David's jacket and some other fun stuff. And they added a fuck ton of these cosmetics. You're picking them all the time. Like, but I don't even know why clothes are tiered, other than that, the ones that do have mechanical bonuses do increase, but, like, every time I go anywhere, there's, like, a locker full of, like, 5 pieces of orange tier clothing, and I'm just like, yeah, give me that shit.
I mean, I think we talked about this before. I think it is just a point of getting you materials.
Yeah,
unless you don't want to talk about it. Because I do like this, that they do this in the clothing. They actually have a wardrobe tab, which will tell you which clothes you do not already have in your wardrobe. So every once in a while, I'll go over there, tab over, and be like, yes, I see.
And the funny thing is, once that piece of clothing enters your inventory, it's in your wardrobe tab forever.
Yeah.
Which means you can immediately buy this shit and either sell it back if you wanted, or scrap it for components, which is kind of important because the component game is real. Like, I think they squished some of the numbers, but, like, you need a lot of tiered components, obviously, to upgrade your iconic weapons or craft new weapons, but also that's how you upgrade cyberware, which is slightly cheaper, I think, than buying out the next tier outright. And also, you can't, I don't think you can buy the plus tiers.
No, you have to upgrade the plus.
Yeah, so, like, it's important to get the most out of all your cyberware and shit. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there. So, like, it's still a little rough around the edges, but it is eminently more playable, and there's a lot more fun stuff going on.
Well, there's still one more thing I want to bitch about, specifically, like, weapons and gear. Mods. Because, they made a weird choice, I want to say. Previously, you could take mods out of weapons. You can, swap. Yeah, I believe it was a perk you had to take, but you can customize them a little bit more now. Now you don't need a perk, but now you can't take mods out.
Also, I swear the UI used to... I mean, there was actually a difference between attachments and mods, but the UI, I felt like, used to have mods and attachments, like, all grouped together. Because you could sometimes find guns that could take attachments with no mod slots, and some guns that could take only mod slots, no attachment slots, for muzzles and scopes. Now the game does clearly delineate them, but that is the break on, like, what can be removed and what can't be removed.
Yeah. If you try to remove... And the funny thing I find is that in the code, there's still the remove on, because you can go over the mods, hit I think triangle for remove, and it'll be like, this action is blocked. I'm like, well, unblock it! Because the problem with this is, if finding weapons in the wild, is sometimes they'll come with mods attached, and you're like, I don't need this mod, I don't want this mod, because mods usually have a plus and a minus in some form or whatnot.
Yeah, they are playstyle specific.
Yeah, so it's just like, that's why, like, this is why I'm talking about, like, trying to find weapons. Like, right now, I need to find a tier 5 or better, tomahawk with, like, 2 mod slots, but nothing in the mod slot, so I can customize it how I wish. And it's just like, that's, several tiers of fucking bullshit I have to, like, pray to RNGesus for, because I can't take the mods out. And on the same page, it's hard to get the mods I want, because you can't craft mods. You have to either buy them or find them. And at some point, like, vendors don't sell high tier mods. I think they sell blue at best. They'll sell purple attachments. Well, at least where I am right now. But, I'm pretty funky. They'll sell purple attachments. But mods only go up to blue. And they don't carry all of them. Like, there is a very big difference between the amount of gun vendors versus melee vendors in this game. And even the melee vendors have, like, a super reduced, like, stock. They'll have, like, 6 weapons, like, 3 mods. That's it. So me, who was going around trying to find, what are they called? Silencio, Boomerang, and Javelin mods, I'm just all like, okay, can I get something, please? Because if I want to get an orange tier 1, that means I usually have to get 4 blues so I can make 2 purples so I can get 1 orange. And then I have to sit on that orange mod until I get the 5++ version of the empty weapon I want, so I can put it on there, because otherwise, when I eventually get rid of the weapon that I have here, I've just wasted all that effort in making that mod. So I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's... I get why they simplified it, because it was very fiddly, but it does kind of, like, mean there's less to it. If it does... like, they haven't, like, completely coded it out. Maybe they will, much like with, adjusting times and even, like, straight up rebalancing some weapon stats. Maybe they will eventually make it so you can just unslot mods again. Like, I
wouldn't mind.
I understand, I think what they're going for, especially with Phantom Liberty installed, is, like, they want you to do the content like the airdrops and the vehicle contracts, because, like I said, those vehicle contracts usually come with a crate that has, like, a, 1 purple, 1 orange tier mod in it, or attachment, sometimes both. And same with, like, I think the airdrops usually have, like, one of those. So you're supposed to have a way to pretty reliably farm them, but 1, that only exists in Phantom Liberty, and 2, it's still, like, that means you have to farm them, and I don't want to be farming mods. I want to just slot mods in. I don't know. I think there's something to be said for, like, the game was out for, like, 2 years. Did people maybe get complacent with some of the best mods? I could see that, but, like, generally, if you really want us to be cycling through weapons a lot, you should make it so that we can, adjust the weapons to what we want, because that does suck to, like, say you're starting out early, you get a decent, like, you get a decent assault rifle you like, and you give it, like, the upgrades you want that are, like, extra ammo capacity or something. I don't care. Other than there's one I care about, which is packs. I have literally done, like, almost no Cyber Psycho missions because I haven't found a PAX in, like, forever. And I don't necessarily want to play around with, like, being careful with landing my hits to not kill them.
It's not as bad as you... Well, actually, I use Gorilla Fist, but...
No, Gorilla Gloves makes it easy, and maybe I will just swap to do them all, but it's... Usually, if you're okay, like, if you keep, away from head and limb blows, you can disable them. But if you accidentally do a dot, that can do them in. I do think Bleed explicitly doesn't take them below 1 HP, so you can avoid that. And you need to be careful about, like, accidentally triggering, like, environmental effects, like, extra shocky or flamey damage.
Mm-hmm.
Which is usually my preferred style of katana. So, like, it's a little bit awkward, and I don't know what my general solution is, other than, like, I'd really like to just get a PAX gun. And I need to remember to use Skippy more, because I told him to go for Ultra Murder, but I know that if you use him, like, 300 times, he has a fucking stack overflow error and switches to the other forever. So I should just remember to use Skippy more while I'm out, and then he can eventually become... I gotta be honest, I don't really like smart weapons a lot.
I really don't myself.
It's cute that they can shoot around corners, but the projectiles are so fucking slow. I have had guys walk out of the way of Ashura shots because they're so big and heavy, and they do turn, but not that much turn, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it can fuck up your headshots and stuff. So like it's annoying, but Skippy is really good for that reason because you can permanently hard code him to limit damage only, never lethal. Also, I think they added Skippy some more funny things to say.
Yeah, the thing, like I said, Skippy's alright. I just don't like that he's locked into your inventory until you do his shit. I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, as a quest thing, it's weird. Because once you pick him up, you don't have a quest marker for him anymore.
No.
You just have to, like, figure out what the fuck you're supposed to do with him. By the way,
and
Skippy was
kill
Regina's
people.
gun. So you can also just talk to her and be like, hey, I found this gun. And she's like, oh, it's my old pal Skippy. You can give him back to me if you want. Or don't.
Actually, I'm right next to her, dude. I'm gonna go see if I can just drop off fucking Skippy.
I'm pretty sure you can. I haven't talked to her in person because people usually just deliver stuff to me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's, if I remember rightly, that's one of the reasons why it is a quest item, is that technically you can end it early by talking to Regina because it is her gun.
I wouldn't mind putting Skippy on my wall o' guns, but I don't need him in my wall o' inventory.
Yeah. Your wall of guns is also, like, super inconsistent.
Oh my god, it so is. So, I have so many iconic weapons. I have, like, 3 slots filled on my fucking thing. Because I have Satori, the knife, Dying Knight,
I was really shocked. I don't know if they, like, recoded it this way, but fucking errata goes on my wall, which is weird considering it was added in 2.0.
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, no, but, you know, guns like Guts don't get in there, hecking... the Congo doesn't want, you know, the gun you took from fucking, you know, the penthouse apartment, but the katana and knife you get there get a slot. I'm like, this is inconsistent as fuck.
Yeah, it's really weird. I do at least appreciate the black market vendor to pick up missed iconics.
Oh, no, Regina does not have a, hey, this is your gun. Okay.
That must only proc when you do the quest thing with him then.
Yeah. I'm stuck with this motherfucker longer. Oh, I did hear there is a gun that apparently has a fucking black wall AI in it, and it just talks in death. I'm like, I need this. I don't know what it is, but I need it.
Yeah, I think I do remember seeing some. There are some very cool, both non-unique and unique weapons added in Phantom Liberty that are really cool. It's really weird, but I do kind of like one of the new revolvers they added, because, like, you load it from the grip with a mag like normal, but it has a rotating chamber, and I'm just like, this is stupid as fuck, but it looks cool. There are also a couple more like top-loading SMGs, you know, kind of P90 style, and you know I love that. And I think they've got some other good rifles as well. I'll dig into it, you know. It's a cool beans.
Cool beans.
But alright, it is almost midnight. We have managed to record for almost 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't really have much to talk about.
We should... Actually, no, I don't think there's... Well, no, there's a little bit. We plan to... there was some time confusion, but Alan Wake 2 is out now. Has very good reviews. People are saying, once again, another Game of the Year contender. Very exciting. We do still plan on streaming that. By the time you've gotten to this time code in the Let's Talk episode, we're probably already doing that.
Probably.
Because usually the way this works is the moment I am, like, fully conscious, awake, and my computer is, like, fully turned on and everything, is I will, you know... depending on, like, time codes and other stuff, I might have to do some minor updates, but I usually try to get these flipped over as soon as I am, like, actually awake and aware. But the episode's gonna be, like, 2.5 hours long, so I don't know if you're listening to this when we'll actually fire it up, but I don't know, like you said, early afternoon. So, I don't know, probably, like, 3 or 4 for me?
Probably.
I mean,
if that's
3 my time's a little, that would be, like, noon for you, so that might not quite count as afternoon. It's a funny discussion we had. I had to think the other day, because I said, like, oh, yeah, maybe, like, the time you usually do the What's Up, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that 4 p.m. counted as early afternoon, and I had to think to myself, no, you're right, that doesn't really count, but for me, that is, you know, 7 p.m. is, like, in summer we've just left, that was, like, you know, very early evening. The sun would still be up for, like, an hour, so longitude, it's weird. I don't think of 7 as that late. Afternoon is weird, because sometimes it's, you know, the break between, like, afternoon and dusk, depending on your latitude, can be very short. But yeah, we can get it in sometime. Which I'm excited for, because like I said, the reviews are good. I was a little worried that there would be another kind of, like, controversy, because apparently the specs on PC are kind of high, because they use some very advanced textures.
Mm-hmm.
Not that listen, game designers, I know you need to, like, invest in stuff, and you need your art team to do stuff, but, like, part of the reason why people are saying that City Skylines 2 is, like, super poorly optimized is because apparently the little people have, like, fucking fully rendered teeth and skins and stuff, and, like, no, don't do that. Nobody's gonna zoom in, and you're not gonna actually make enough sales if you say that, like, that's a feature. But also at the same time, I've talked off mic about how I'm completely bamboozled by, like, people are really shitting on the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection because it is exactly what they advertised. It is a package of software that lets you download, versions of Metal Gear Solid games you can play on your modern hardware in an emulator package. That's what they said it would be. That's what it is. And if you're telling me that Metal Gear Solid 1 looks shittier than it did on PS1, you're wrong. It doesn't. It's always looked that polygonal. I'm pretty sure I've played it on a CRT when I first played it. Though I still have my disc somewhere. Does the PS5 take PS1 discs? I don't remember. I don't think it does. But it might. They're just CDs. Anyway, that's irrelevant. But it is... I'm glad to see the reviews are still positive, even though there's been, like, a lot of weird graphical hullabaloo. But yeah, gaming just keeps getting gaminger. But with all that, we can actually, like, wrap up. So I can edit this and produce it, get that shower I want.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed at a semi-reasonable time so I can wake up so I can stream. Okay, so it doesn't take PS1 discs. Sag, but also understandable, because I'm sure that's another weird emulator they would have to build in. Anyway, that's probably about it for the show. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed your time. Let us know any of your thoughts on stuff and things that we're talking about, and I'll be sure to hit you up. We did actually do an AP, so you can check out that. We're going to be taking a break from Gensakai for a while, so get your love in now. And like I said, keep your ears and eyes peeled for, a second banner on Castle of Day and Night. We'll see. If anything happens, we'll be sure to yell about it next week. So let's do the outro, as I had to fight yawning there very hard. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Blah. Listen, the format change is working. The show is almost 3 hours raw, but it does mean that it is getting a little later. I'm going to sweepy. Okay, all right. If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. Comments are cool. We like those. You can also join our Discord. Link is in the description and channel page. You can also join our channel memberships, so you get access to membership badges and emotes. If you're already subscribed, you can ring the bell for notifications. If you're not subscribed, you can subscribe. That's cool. All those things are cool on the YouTube end. And also, like we said at the start of the show, you can support us on Patreon, get access to audio episodes of Let's Talk FGO and other stuff for as little as $1 a month and approximately $10 a year. At higher levels, you can vote in topic polls and other funny things, and it really helps support us. At higher levels, you can listen to Let's Talk get recorded every week live, for instance. That's everything I got. See you guys next, Tim.
Have a good evening.